Welcome, everyone, to Let's Talk, a call-in show on the Skeptic Haven channel network. Let's Talk is a safe place for atheists, those questioning or leaving religion, or anyone that wants to ask questions and have respectful discussions. From the U.S., call us at 984-789-4787, or if you're outside the U.S., just click that little URL that's rolling by on the bottom of the screen there and call us from your computer, because you gotta love science and technology.
This is Skeptic Haven. Let's talk.
All right. Oh, damn, it's that hooligan guy again.
That's right. Look out. Look out.
All right. Well, then I leave all the yelling at the people for you tonight. No. Hey, Justin, how you doing, man?
Oh, I'm so much better now that you're here. I mean, I've this is now, I think, my third appearance on this channel, and I love doing this show. I love this channel. I love your viewers. And if the cruelest thing you did to me was early in December saying, "Do you want to come back on February 9th?" And I'm just like, yes. And now I had to wait 2 months. Terrible.
Well, you're back, and we'll make sure that I get paired up with you again, because it's fun doing it with you. So.
Oh, sweet, thanks. I appreciate it, and I'll just return the compliment because it's the nice thing to do.
Right. Not because it's true or anything, but just because it's a nice thing to do.
Yeah. No, we've been having a good time, you and I, for a little while now.
Yeah.
I was over on your channel, and then we did an after show, and then I showed up on another after show, and
yeah,
a good time.
Well, you're always welcome, you know that.
Yeah.
Anyone's always welcome into our after shows, as long as they're civil, for the most part. I'm not saying I'm civil by any stretch, but I try to be.
Yeah.
But I can fall off that wagon anytime. Hello, everyone in the chat. We've got tons of mice. We've got Ways to Human. I like that name.
Yeah. I like that channel.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't watched much. I should probably pay attention.
You just just wait. I'm sure AJ will get around to having you on. She just had SR last night, and it was a great episode. So
Elliot.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason Freer. Hey, Jason. Yeah. Elliot is actually coming back on my show again, because we're doing the whole return to the show thing now, right? So
okay,
he'll be back on March 8th. So it should be fun having him back. It's sort of an update of what we're doing now since you were on the show. A lot of people that have been on the show have become quite the activists. So I update people on the progress of the folks that have been on my show and what their activism has led them to doing. And when Elliot comes on, he's got lots to tell us because he's been up to quite a bit. So
yeah. I don't have all the information, but I know he is right now pushing secularizing U.S., which is super important to him. So
new C103, I think, or
yep.
103C, I think they got. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It almost sounds like the 103C is something Canadian, right? Because we use C in a lot of our stuff. So that's kind of funny. Yeah. But yeah, I wish him well for that, because I think it's a great idea we just got going there. I think he's going to be at the ARC protest too. I think.
Yep. Yeah. Joe from the Kentucky Atheist and right. Jess, fellow Canadian, How to Rule an Asteroid. They've been working really hard over there on that. Yeah, those guys. I wish I could get out there. Like I don't know. I'm afraid to go to America, frankly. Like just
right now,
scared to go. But
they might hold me hostage and try to take Canada with me as a hostage, and I don't think that's a very good idea.
Yeah. But Elliot and I had a little bit of fun over on my channel too. We did a couple of videos. We decided to tackle some top 5 lists and just do some fun little recordings.
And, no way.
Yeah. And one of them actually really did pretty well. I was quite happy with the response it got. So Elliot and I are going to hopefully do it. We did top 5 Bible contradictions, top 5 traditions that Christians don't follow anymore. And we did
you mean most of them?
Yeah. And then we did now the third one escapes me right off the top of my head, but it was a lot of fun. And we did this whole weird gimmick where like I had Elliot locked in a box and I wouldn't let him out unless he performed. It was really fun.
Like an organ grinder monkey.
Sort of. There's one of the videos opens with him like gnawing on a carrot that apparently I gave him, and like, yeah, it was pretty funny. And then the episode ends where I'm just like, I got you a new blanket. I handed him a paper towel, and he pulled the paper towel from under his camera, so it looked like I actually passed him a paper towel. I'm like, here's your new blanket.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Your blanket. It's not a solar blanket, Elliot. You're gonna freeze.
Yeah.
Waste to Human said that she gave Elliot a carrot for last night for you.
Yeah, she liked the gimmick a lot that we did, but she even sent me a DM. She's like, "Can you let Elliot in the box and come with my channel one day?" But
yeah,
anyways, how you been? How's 2025 treating you all the way over on the other side of the country?
Oh yeah. So far not so bad. I can't complain. We had a great party, a big holiday party for work, and that went over pretty good. The guy that I work with in my department won the fucking PS5. So he won the deluxe edition that comes with 2 controllers and like 2 games or something.
The Costco version.
Yeah. I think it was the Costco version, actually. So yeah. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I've been, of course, ordering more Lego. So
yeah.
That just keeps happening.
We dodged a bullet from the Tangerine King over there, huh? February
temporarily, anyways.
Yeah,
but he's bumped it twice now, I think. So
yeah, the rumor I've heard is that, well, rumor. I mean, the skepticism behind it, and I'm very hopeful that's what's going to happen. Is that the whole idea is just going to constantly just get like the can kicked down the road over and over and over again.
Yeah, could be.
But
and I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to disagree with Greg S in the chat there. Western Canada's interests are better served by joining us. The USA, not a fucking chance.
No,
sorry. I like our medical system. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and that's just the big one. There's a lot of really small ones even that are just like, that's a cool thing too. We don't have pennies, man. What's up with the pennies? Get rid of the pennies, you penny pinchers. But
yeah, with electronic paying now, you don't even need pennies anyway. So,
yep. And I haven't had a penny in my cup holder in my car in years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can always I live moments away from the border. So if I want any of that, if I want peanut butter Captain Crunch, I could just go across the border and get it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most Canadians live pretty close to the border.
Yeah.
Throw a rock.
Fair.
And hit an American. But did you see his the one executive order that I would love to discuss with you right now while we're waiting for calls is the anti-Christian bias order and faith office that he wants to add to the White House. Have you seen this?
I have not seen this. This sounds absolutely fucking ridiculous.
So first of all, I feel like a lot of people underestimate the guy. Okay. Everyone's just walking around saying he's stupid. And I think the first mistake we could make is to underestimate him. And I'm starting to think there's something else going on here. My whole life, I've always been taught that when you're dealing with a large organization or a production or anything, if you're going to make any changes, you want to do small moves over a period of time. You don't want to do like everything at once on day one kind of thing. And here's Elon Musk like a sledgehammer just going through the government, right? Meanwhile, Trump is over here just signing these little executive orders that, they're horrible on their own, but I feel like they're a baby step to something way bigger. And this anti-Christian bias order that he's created, basically, again, more Christian persecution, right? Christians in America are all persecuted. So he's like, we're going to eliminate anti-Christian bias from hospitals and schools and all of this stuff. And the whole thing sounds ridiculous because I'm not sure there is any like real persecution going on. At least by the definition of the word I use it.
This is all something that they're being told is happening. The people in you're being persecuted. So they think they're being persecuted. It's a ploy. It's all part of their strategy to divide people.
Yeah.
right? The rich white people want all you. Oh, well, poor white people, those colored people are trying to take what's yours away from you, and then all the other stuff that they're just trying to keep us divided
Yeah.
and keep people
And
divided.
some of the words that he uses are pretty tricky. So the bill is called like the anti-Christian bias, and there's a whole task force involved with that, right? But he
I think that
says
sounds
it's
like a great idea. I don't think there should be any Christian bias.
yeah. Well, it's anti-Christian bias specifically. But when he talks about it being like for all religious persecution. Meanwhile, the order specifically is called the anti-Christian bias. And here's what I think this thing is going to do. The first moment there's another like Satanist shrine erected, or any kind of like a woman walks in with her hijab on at a Walmart or whatever, someone's going to scream anti-Christian bias,
Right.
and suddenly it's a different order altogether now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's creepy and terrible.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm just looking to see if it looks like we might have a caller here. So I just want to wait and see if
Sweet.
they're ready to.
Well, while you're doing that, and I'll also mention that he wants to put a faith office inside the White House. And the pastor that he wants to put in there is, I believe her name is, the first name escapes me, but I think it's Julia White
It's not
King.
that crazy one from before. is
It's
it?
that crazy one from before. So the televangelist who was like, basically said that all of Biden's LGBTQ like laws and stuff to help protect them were demonic and like all of that. So she's getting a
wow.
permanent office in the White House.
Oh wow.
Paula White, thank you, Tons of Mice. Yeah.
Paula White. That's it. Yeah. Thanks, Tons of Mice. Just to answer Greg's question, when was the last time you had to go to a hospital in British Columbia? Actually, I've been to a hospital quite a few times in the past 5 years. I had a blood clot, was dealt with right away, no problem. I had other issues that come up, and I got my screening and all that shit, no problem. I didn't have to pay any money to go to the States for surgery. I've been in for surgery before, no problem. Didn't have to wait long at all. So I don't have a problem with it. Some people I hear do, and that's fine. But I've never had a problem. So
I mean, if you don't go to a Canadian hospital with a broken toe or a runny nose, like if you're in there because you're bleeding from the ears, you're going to see someone pretty damn quick, right?
Yeah.
If you've got, I mean, you should still go for a broken toe, and you will unfortunately have to wait, because that's probably like one of those things where there's nothing
lower priority.
Nothing they can literally do, but
Right.
you should still get it x-rayed to make sure that like something else hasn't happened too, right?
Yeah, and stabilized or whatever.
Yeah,
Wrapped up,
but,
stabilized, that kind of thing.
I literally in the last 2 weeks have changed my family doctor without any problem. Like I just randomly asked if this person would be my new family doctor. They went, yep. So anyone who's complaining about not being able to find a family doctor. Now I understand that the more rural Canadian
it took me a
areas,
while.
probably a little harder. But in the city I'm in fact, the region I'm in's got like 500,000 people. So,
lots.
Yeah. So, and then I got seen within 20 minutes. I got my pills 20 minutes later, and there was no paid parking, which is why I liked him so much.
Yeah. Well, when my doctor retired, it took me a couple of years because nobody around here was accepting patients. But then I found out just down the road from me, they have a clinic with nurse practitioners. So my new doctor is a nurse practitioner.
Well,
she's been great. She's been great. I'm going for
as long as they can sign prescriptions and check your blood pressure properly. What more do you need from a family doctor, frankly?
Yep. I'm going to get my blood tested this Friday because I was diagnosed as border, or what do they call it, pre-diabetic.
Okay.
So I had to go on a diet, which I did, and dropped 35 pounds within 3 months. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I'm better for it now.
I don't mean to dunk on you, but I also had a blood test because I got the new family doctor, and I'm all clean.
So nice.
Nothing. I'm still ugly though, but that's okay.
Yeah, I hear you. Me too. But I had the butt snake thing happen, where they go up there and check to make sure that you're.
I heard. Oh, okay. Well, I heard we got a caller. Do we have a caller?
Oh yes,
That's
we do.
all
Oh,
right. We're getting
okay.
too
Somebody's.
personal now.
Oh yeah, sorry about
Now
that.
we got to change the thumbnail,
Well,
and that thumbnail is not a
polyp
good one.
free, folks, which is what you want to hear. Yeah, let's go over and let's check the calls that we got here. All right. So we've got Eric, him from Texas. Trump's.
Hi, Eric.
Oh, he's an atheist. I like that. Hang on. Hello,
There we go.
Eric. Yeah, we can hear you, Eric. How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, not bad. Sorry, I thought I heard a beep, but it was super quiet, and then I just heard the beep right
Okay, there you go.
now.
Oh, you had a hearing hallucination, did you?
I guess I did the first time, yeah. But yeah, so y'all were talking about a few things that I was discussing earlier. I'm calling from Amarillo, Texas, and we recently reestablished a free thought society over here because the old one has been gone for 10 years.
Nice.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I had heard recently about the White House executive order from 2 days ago about this American White House faith office that is rather concerning. Yeah. So, sorry, I've got a little bit of a cough.
No problem.
But yeah, as far as this office goes, I definitely agree with what you said earlier about it likely being something where, especially because it mentions anti-Christian bias specifically when they were pitching it or announcing it, that it seems like something that's on the surface try to make it seem like it's going to, I mean, the bare minimum to try to make it seem like it's a general, quote, religious liberty office. But, we can all see that it's blatant favoritism toward one particular faith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see this as kind of the first step. The same thing with like in Florida with the Don't Say Gay bill, when it started with elementary schools and now it's all through high school, right? It just evolved. It became this thing. It's like, let's extend it now. We passed it for, kindergartners, and then they passed it for everyone up to like, I guess for Americans would be like junior high, and then they passed it all the way through high school. I see this anti-Christian bias bill as the first step to gay marriage is gone. That's how far I think that's going to.
Oh, and they've had that in the works, Justin. They've had that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, the court system legally seems to be the biggest way that's being focused on right now to resist this, and plenty of protests. There are a lot of protests on a lot of different issues right now in the U.S. that have been growing. We had a large one for the size of this town just over here in Amarillo, and it's pretty small compared to bigger cities in Texas. And on the topic of secular rights, though, separation of church and state, I haven't seen a lot of big noise out on the streets or anything yet. I wanted to ask, aside from the legal system, what do you guys think would be the best means for Americans to try to push back and, preserve their secularism in their government?
Well, I could tell you from my personal experience as of the past little while, I've seen a lot of footage of many, many people getting together to start this whole pushback thing. I've seen lots of senators that are Democratic mostly, and even Republican ones that are getting together and putting their little rallies together, and they're talking against what's being done by the Trump administration, and they're saying that we have to bind together to put a stop to a lot of these things that he's attempting to do, especially with Elon Musk. A lot of them really don't like that guy because of what he's already done and what he's trying to do. And if I'm remembering correctly, and I may not be because I am human, I think the courts tried or stopped him from getting into the funding for like retirement checks or whatever it is. I guess I'm not entirely sure how you guys do it down there, but I heard that they've put a stop to him trying to cut off payments for stuff like that. I don't know if that's true or not, though.
What happened, Neil, was they tried to stop payments to everything. And then when people realized that meant their Medicare and their Social Security, which was the word you were looking for,
that's
they totally stepped it back and went like, whoa, like, and Elon did the whole like, sorry guys, we were just trying it, and like anything that we don't want broken, we can put back. He made it sound like it was no big deal. Meanwhile, like people were this close from, not being able to pay their rent that month.
It's no big deal for him. He's made
yeah.
$150 billion since Trump got elected. So whatever.
Right. But yeah, Eric, I think that in the States, and I think even in Texas, there's organizations that are already funded publicly and ready to put in injunctions and go to court to stop things. And I think that's the first step to anything. So as soon as something goes one step too far to not being secular enough, or being a little bit too, encroaching on other people's rights to their religions, injunction. Like that's the quickest attack that you can do, is to put a stop to whatever they're doing so that it can be explored and argued properly and fully. And I think that's the important part, right? Because some of these judges I'm noticing in America for some of Trump's orders aren't putting long enough pauses on some of the crap he wants to do. They're just like, hold on, let's give it 3 days. And it's like, wait a minute, you need a lot more time than that to fully explore some of these orders that Trump is trying to execute. But in any case, I'm glad to see that the courts are still empowered for now to stop some of these executive orders.
Yep. Yeah. And just like Jason says, get loud because the media isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to take.
Very true. Well, I appreciate y'all taking a moment to chat with me about it.
And we're Canadians, so we're just watching the shit show, eating popcorn. So,
but we're very sensitive to what's going on in America. And Neil and I do not underestimate the power of what happens in the States can affect Canada. When America wins, we win. Oh, no, basically.
It's like
absolutely do not. Yeah. Huh?
It's like our, although he's resigned, our prime minister, said a few things that, and others have said it as well. We fought beside you. We've been your neighbors forever. Well, not forever, but you know what I mean? Like we've been there for each other for years and years and years, for generations. And this clown comes in and wants to try and throw a big fucking monkey wrench in that. And I think the funniest thing is the whole trade agreement thing. You said, "Oh, who wrote up this trade agreement? This is fucking stupid." He wrote it up.
Yeah, we had a very nice one already that like Trudeau's dad technically wrote.
Yeah,
and it was in place for 40, 50 years, and Trump had to change it.
I don't think he really even knows how to write anything. Someone, 8 years ago, wrote that for him. Someone in his first term wrote that for him. So, I mean, he probably fired whoever it was that originally wrote it.
Yeah. So I heard someone today speak about Trump that I never really thought about before. And he goes on to say, Trump never cooked his own meal. He's never shopped for groceries. He's never driven a loved one to the hospital or to a doctor's appointment. He's never had to do any of the small things that we all do for each other and our friends and our families and things like that. And the fact that there's Americans that believe that he is the people's president is mind-blowing. He's probably never had to tie his own shoe.
Does he even wear laces?
Oh, yeah.
If he's old and crotchety like me, I wear slip-ons, all of them. So I don't want to bend over and tie my shoes anymore. Those days are over.
I think a lot of people focus so much on whoever the person is that's the president, they usually forget the people around him. And when we look at this guy, when we look at Trump, I mean, the man, everyone laughs about him being a buffoon, but the big thing is it's not Trump himself. He's the mouthpiece. He's the person that they get far right and conservative and disillusioned, even disillusioned apolitical Americans to kind of gravitate toward. He's the personality, the talk show host. My biggest concern is I don't want to see the U.S. get to a point where, a lot of people talk about how democracy is completely at risk and full oligarchy, like you see in places like Republic of Georgia, or like Russia, like I never want to see that happen, because there's a lot of power in America. And as much as we want to have, for better nature to come out and win at the end of the day, I've seen with my international friends, I've seen absolute power corrupt absolutely, and I don't want to see that happen to my country.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't want to see it happen to your country either, man.
Me neither. I'm always been a very hopeful person. I've been called a sweet summer child many times. So for where I sit,
I'm calling you that from now on.
There you go. From where I sit, I am in this position. Here's how I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it like from an addict's point of view, where the addict usually needs to hit rock bottom, and if they can get through the rehab stages, they're better than ever. So what I'm hoping is that this will be America's rock bottom. What I hope doesn't happen though is democracy dying, right? If we can get through, and we're with you. So I'm going to say if we can get through Trump's presidency with democracy still intact in 4 years, cool. Then the next election happens, and I don't even think it'll matter if Democrat or Republicans win. It's only going to go up. Like it could really only get better. I mean, unless Vance ran and won, but I mean, I guess I shouldn't discount it. I would, if you asked me in November if Trump was going to win, I also would have said no chance. But
my bigger concern is that the coalition forces that put Trump in place remain intact after all this is over and he's gone, and we end up seeing someone more competent than Trump actually ending up, in the White House through their efforts. But these things, assuming things don't change too drastically, I think you're right. We'll see things swing in the other direction. But being complacent, that's just something.
And then America can become the 11th province.
The 11th province.
Do you like free healthcare? Does that sound fun to you?
Does it sound
technically,
fun?
dude, it's not free.
I mean, I can tell you.
We pay for it.
I can
just
tell you,
Mexico.
California, Oregon, and Washington would be all in.
Oh yeah, yep.
All of Texas, but it'd be great if Texas would come.
That's the other strange thing too. If Canada did become the 51st state, why would Trump want this? Because no Republican, like United States, would become a winning supermajority overnight, or Democrat. Not democratic. Sorry,
democracy.
Not democracy.
Democracy.
Not Republican, but Democrat.
Republic?
It'd be a super Democrat majority overnight, because we would have more seats than California.
Yeah.
Like, by the time we redistributed seats, like.
Yeah, I mean, it's just his team's strategy of flooding the information space, getting people worried about and focused on the wrong things. Because he's done the same thing with Denmark and Greenland, talking about that. And, that has me a little worried, but I still don't think he would move forward with that right now. With Canada, it's more
and Canada.
him being an ass and, wanting to, up the people talking about like his trade wars that he's trying to put together. And then with what I'm more concerned about is Mexico, because in his first administration, people aren't really talking about it much outside of, the fears of the mass deportation stuff. My biggest concern is that the idiot's going to try to put together some kind of, black ops force, off the record kind of thing, and start doing operations against cartels. And the Mexican government's not stupid. They actually take notice and publicly call it out, and it becomes like an international issue.
Yeah, Mexico's got a fantastic president, by the way, right now.
Yes.
She's excellent.
Yeah, she's awesome.
And in a way, I kind of feel like the trade war thing that Trump is doing is in an attempt to try to get America prepared to be 100% self-sufficient. Because when he does try to do what you've just proposed, and frankly, I think his sights are on Panama before he even does anything in the cartels of Mexico. But once he puts American troops' feet on other soil, America is going to get sanctioned out the ass, and
Yeah.
that's going to be a problem for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, you guys might be old enough to remember.
Be careful
the thing
now.
with Panama is, yeah, but you guys might remember because back in the '80s with Panama, the U.S. already did invade back then.
Oh, the 80s.
So there was an invasion of Panama. So the problem with that is, no, you're absolutely right. Panama and Mexico, in my opinion, would be the most vulnerable. I mean, I guess Greenland would be because there's no military there, but it would really piss off most of the European continent. So I think that, some stupid, ill-conceived, some kind of bullshit in northern Mexico that's supposed to be off the books, or another 1980s situation in Panama. Both of those keep me awake at night, if I'm being honest.
It's so unnecessary, because if he just said, hey, Mexico, I want to do a thing over there. You want to help? Is this okay? They would probably just be like, oh, yeah, here, no problem. Signature. Go ahead. Good luck. Like, honestly. Like, if there was evidence and reason to do it, Mexico and Canada have been there to help, America do whatever they want to do and need to do. So the border agreement Canada made with Trump just recently to stop the tariffs, that agreement was put in place with Biden in December.
Yep.
We just regurgitated it to Trump to make him feel good. Like, we're always game to do whatever. You don't need to be a bully about it, right? But
yep, as long as we can talk about it and come to a reasonable conclusion, then sure.
Yeah. But Eric, you're great, and I'm so happy that you called us.
Yeah, it's good to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
No problem.
All right, you have a good day.
You too.
Man. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Go Super Bowl.
Apparently, there's some game on right now.
My preference is rugby.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Personal.
Mine's hockey. I'm sorry. How Canadian.
Right,
good to talk to you. Thanks for calling, Eric.
Bye.
All right. Well, we're off fast to the races tonight. I love it.
We are. We got a couple more callers on waiting to get in here. But before I get to the next caller, I'm just going to let you guys know that Skeptic Haven is looking for volunteers to help behind the scenes. If you'd like to be a part of our awesome team, send us an email at info@skeptichaven.com. And it really is a great team of people here I've been working with for quite some time now. I think, here we go.
I can vouch. I have no complaints for the team here.
All right, guys. I apologize ahead of time. This show's about to go in a downturn. Here we go. We've got Mikey from Illinois.
Hi, Mikey.
Hello, I made it. First time, long time.
First time. What is this? The Art Bell show all of a sudden?
First time caller, long time listener. Really love what you guys do with the show.
You do with the show too, Mikey, so don't even.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Hi, my name is Mikey Famine, and I want to talk to you guys about religious stuff. Am I doing it right?
Yep. The check is in the mail.
Okay. Thank you.
I just got to get Soros to sign it for you. That's all.
I have made a new name for Trump's bill of BS that he had signed, and it's the Al-Qaeda doctrine.
Oh, God.
This is so that they can institute the Christo-fascist theocracy that they've always dreamed of.
Christo.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you look at like Christianity as a whole, and like Trump, the guy who sleeps with a porn star while his wife is recovering from having his kid, the guy who brags about sexually abusing teenagers at a pageant, how many court cases about sexual misconduct, but this is their leader, right? So if that's the leader of the Christian nation, I don't know, man. I think atheism is looking pretty tasty right now for anybody with a brain.
All right, let's in all fairness and transparency, there have been some pretty shitty atheists in time too. So not all of us think the same way. No, none of them are president. You're all right. You're all right.
Yeah, in fact, that would be like the hardest person to get in the presidency, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? It'd be to get an atheist president. Like, it was this close a couple of times to having the first female president. There's been the first black president, but we're probably 100 years away from the first atheist president, to be completely honest.
Yeah, more than likely.
Which is just crazy.
Unless an atheist does run and just doesn't tell anyone they're an atheist, and they end up getting in, and then he gets.
Oh, I would love that show. That would be the best show ever. That would be great on like the first day, January 20th, and he pulls out the Bible. He's like, "No, thanks." That would be so amazing.
He pulls out his manual of the flying spaghetti monster. Like, I would like this book, please.
The wise words of the FSM Volume 1.
Harry Potter,
or like something Cthulhu based. Just can you please bring this out? I have a spell. Can we get the salt circle and the candles? Yes. I'm ready for the oath. Bring the black chickens and the dagger. Yes.
Yeah. Remember, you got to swing it around in the air first 3 times, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Your topic here, Mike. I find interesting where it says here that Trump's tax policy is so awesome that you're paying more now. I keep hearing this line of Canada becomes America's 51st state, that we would pay way less taxes. So I've done a little bit of research into this, and so there's 7 tax brackets in America. Like, it's not that easy of a question to just say we would pay less overall, right?
Right.
So there's 7 tax brackets in America, and there's 5 here in Canada. Now, Canada, actually, I was surprised to find out that one of the tax bracket America has is that sub like $10,000 per year, where they only pay like 10% tax. Where in Canada, our lowest tax bracket is up to $57,000 a year. And everyone under 57,000 pays 15% tax. So it's actually kind of significant when you compare those 2 tax brackets. But in America, that second tax bracket is like 13%. So Canadians between from like 0 to 50,000 pay 2% more than Americans from like 10 to 50,000, and we don't have to buy health insurance.
Just think, for 2% in taxes, we could have health insurance, but instead,
right,
we will feed the evil pharmaceutical machine our bodies and treasure until we are dust.
Yeah,
that is our fate.
The number that these guys keep spouting. So this is what the other thing that I've learned is that number they keep spouting about Canadians will spend less on taxes if they became Americans is the amount of tax dollars collected versus GDP. So America, the tax is only about 25%. So your total GDP, only 25% of that is from your taxes. Where in Canada, 35% of our GDP is from our taxes. That's the number they're using to say we would pay way less taxes if we became Americans. The reality is even our rich would pay less taxes in Canada than the ones in America.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because and I want people out there to know and understand Trump is very dumb. He's very, very, very dumb. Like, he thought asylum seekers were people from insane asylums from other countries trying to find an insane asylum here in the States because they couldn't find, like, he's very dumb. He doesn't understand a lot of things. When he talks about like this trade deficit and all this BS, he doesn't understand what he's talking about.
No, he doesn't.
The fact that more Americans buy Canadian things than Canadians buy American things is probably because we outnumber you guys, 4-1? Like, he's just dumb. Like, he looks at charts and graphs and he assumes that it must be a certain way because
I don't even think he looks at charts and graphs. He just looks at the 2 numbers.
Well, people show him stuff and say, see, they're getting over on us. Look at how much we're doing and look how little they're doing. That needs to be even. That is impossible. Canadians do not have enough money to just continually purchase 4 households worth of stuff every day. Like, what are they supposed to do? They only have one body. They can only eat so much food. Like, he doesn't understand. Like, we're bigger consumers than Canadians, and
Well,
there's more of us. So there's going to be a lack.
also,
That's fine.
Mikey, I don't know if you're aware of this, but if we just stopped selling you oil, actually the deficit would be on our side. We would buy more from you. It's the oil that puts us over the top. It's you guys. Now, of course, Mike, obviously, I'm not trying to put this competition between me, Justin, and you, Mike, but I'm saying Canada and US, right? America, if you didn't need so much of our oil, we actually would be buying more from you.
Right.
So we
you're
just
more
stopped
like
the oil, and
we're on
then
the
Trump's
same-
got no complaints.
We're on the same side of this. Like, we're on the same side of this. It's just he has no idea
Yeah.
that countries that have a smaller population are not going to be able to compete by matching dollar for dollar how much everybody spends in each other's country. Like, that's just a dumb person thing to think, and he's a dumb person for thinking it. It doesn't work like that. But he knows all. I would encourage all Canadians to don't buy stuff from red states, and make it explicit that that's why you're not doing it. It's like, oh, because Trump's an idiot and I'm not going to support him. Yeah,
These are my drinks of choice tonight while we live stream.
those are delicious. I love them both.
Why am I?
I think they meant to put me full screen, but that's okay.
I think so.
Either that or it's the product placement. They're like, no, Justin, don't do it.
And along with these tariffs, Project 2025 that we internet sleuths and leftist people found on the internet and tried to sound the warning bells for it, and we were promptly and almost completely ignored. Well, we're here now, and a big part of Project 2025 is bringing in this Christo-fascist state, the YaHouligan doctrine.
That's so good.
But and they're trying to like push this Christian message with Trump at the head, which is crazy, and now the Nazi Elon, which is crazy. These people are not pious, and the things that the Project 2025 people, the Heritage Foundation, they're like Dennis Prager weirdo pious. Not like, oh, this person goes to a church because, you know, pretty good bass player, you know, they like to keep their chops up and the message is okay. But not those people. Like, these are like the weirdo people who have like the strange churches that no one ever goes to, and it's usually just a bunch of meetings. Like, it's not even like a church. Like, these dudes are just like racists who are using Christianity to hide their racism. Like, that's all this is. Like, all of this is like segregation talk. All this is white supremacist talk. None of it has anything to do with their actual Christian beliefs. And in a room full of atheists, no one knows the Bible better than us. Like, none of this stuff is scriptural, and they don't care about what is right or wrong. They're hiding behind religion so that they can bully people. And I think that's a great idea for them to do, because that's a great reason for us to start taxing the church. Since they're going to be a political arm of the government, then maybe they need to start giving up some cash.
Yeah, then Trump would have some money to put into his new fund that he created. I forget what it's called right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and by the way, keep an eye on those. Keep an eye on that tariff money, because it's not a thing. So let's see where all that money goes. He never said where it was going. He never said he was giving it to the people. He just said he was collecting tariffs.
He's not going to give it to the people.
He's not going to give it to the people. He wants to try to reinvest money that America makes into America, like a business person, like actually invest in businesses and companies and things like that. Problem is America doesn't have any money. It's literally like somebody trying to say, like, I'm going to start saving up this year. I'm going to save money this year, but you're sitting on like $100,000 worth of credit card debt. You can't save any money if you're going to pay all this credit card debt. Like, it's not a real scenario.
He's saying that he's going to use that money for the deficit. So you're going to pay China?
No, he wants to invest it.
Yeah.
The sovereign citizen fund or sovereign nation. I forget what it's called exactly, but A lot of other countries have done it. Like Switzerland does it, and they make like $1 trillion a year from that fund because they invest it in companies in their country and things like that. Problem is that your GDP has to be bigger than your debt, or else, and you guys spend a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe we should maybe
you
we
guys
should
owe
put,
us money for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
that's what
Alberta
I'm
has a
saying,
fund.
all those-
Neil.
we put all those
Yeah.
bonds out, and China has most of those bonds. So it's like, okay, you're going to pay off all the stuff. So you're going to raise taxes on everybody so you can pay China because we hate China. They're our enemy. I mean, just don't pay him, right? Like that's what he normally does.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first time this guy's ever in his once in his entire life said, "Hey, I'd like to pay my bill." And then the people believe him. Like, this guy's criminally not paid his bills. There's states suing him right now because he had rallies there and didn't pay the sound people and didn't pay pay his what's it called, fees for having the what is it called? Like your license for like having like a festival or just a big event. He wouldn't pay for any of it. He doesn't pay any of his bills. And now we're supposed to believe.
I'd be embarrassed to be a billionaire that didn't pay his bills.
I'm really trying to work on my deficit. We did run up a big deficit last time I was here when I just gave everybody everything who was rich. But now that I'm back, I think it's time that we do it again. But this time, I'll take the money and I'll pay the deficit. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I can't wait to go to my grocery store next week and tell them that they don't buy as much from me as I buy from them.
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he's like. Hey, Amazon and me have a trade deficit. It's like, yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah. Someone call Amazon and let them know that
a lot of stuff. Yeah, I bet
they need to start supporting Skeptic Haven as much as I support them when I buy stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to stop buying stuff and I'm going to tax them to sell to me.
Well, why don't you just name a Gulf after yourself and then start putting tariffs on them?
The Gulf of Neil.
That's a whole other call. That's a whole other call right there.
Yeah.
I would also, last thing, and then I'll get out of here and let somebody else have some fun. I would like to congratulate my governor here in Illinois, J.B. Pritzker.
Oh, yeah?
He put out a very stern statement to all countries all over the earth. He wants Google to be informed on this so they can start adjusting the maps. He has claimed Lake Michigan as now Lake Illinois. It's ours now because that's what you're allowed to do. So we have claimed one of the Great Lakes. You're welcome, Lake Illinois.
Well, where I live, we just started with Lake Ontario. We don't have to change it.
That's right.
You just named yourself after the lake because you were scared that someone would do it. So whatever.
Yeah. Well, I guess it could become Lake New York if I'm not careful.
But you never know. But everybody, don't give up hope. I hope you guys had a chuckle or two. I said this many a time. This is gonna suck.
Yeah.
There is nothing about that is gonna be fun and pleasant and good.
Trump's inauguration day should have started with keep your hands and legs inside the vehicle at all times. Keep your seatbelt buckled even when the light is turned on, and hang on tight.
I have no idea why that was put up there. I think Master needs to call into the show. Sorry, Mikey.
Oh, you're good. It's this is gonna be rough, but we can minimize the damage and keep
I've
each
got
other
my
safe
donut pillow.
if we look out for each other. So
that's twice you wrenched into your butt today. Just saying.
Don't take any unnecessary risks.
Winning.
This is a marathon, so we want to get to the end with as many people with us that started with us. So take mental health breaks.
Contact your locals, emotional support Canadian if you need to.
Bread.
Yeah. If you need to smoke a little extra or do whatever you need to do, that's fine. But get your mind right because we got a big fight ahead of us and we got a lot of work to do. We're gonna have to I don't want to curse. We're gonna have to un-F ourselves, and that is it's not a fun process. So we're going to lose a lot of stuff for a little while, and maybe we'll get some of it back. Maybe we'll get new stuff, but we got to protect everybody in the meantime.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, Mike, I appreciate your call, man. It's nice to hear from you.
Yeah, nice to have you calling, brother. For those of you who don't know, Mikey is my co-host on our show, Deconversion.
No way! I had no idea. Whoa.
Do I hang
Yeah,
up
brother,
now?
thanks for the call.
What do I do?
No, I'm just
No,
going to...
we hang up on you, man.
Yeah, we're going to hang up on you. Talk to you soon, brother. Oh, he's gone. All right, before we
Love
get
that.
into our next call, I'm going to make a quick little mention here. If you guys like the shows here on Skeptic Haven Network, they do lots more. Monday nights, we have the Black Freethinkers. Thursday nights is the Sunny Spot. Saturdays are the Global Atheists and Women Atheists Unload with lots of great hosts. And Sundays, well, you're looking at it now. It's the Let's Talk Call-In show. And I think we'll be taking our next caller who has called the show before. We have John, who's Canadian. I remember John, who claims, who's a theist, by the way, who claims that Trump is the best president the U.S. has had. And I say statistics say otherwise.
Oh, gentlemen, how are you?
Hi, John.
Good, John. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. And you?
Oh, I had a great day so far. As usual, I went for brunch with my mom and had a delicious Popeye omelet, which is spinach and feta cheese. So it was awesome.
Good.
So
good.
how is
Well,
Trump the best president America has ever had? Because I bet you even Trump might even at least name one or two presidents that might have been better than him.
okay, gentlemen. The United States is now in the hands of a man who, A, understands capitalism, business, and most importantly, he really cares about the United States of America and the people who are in it. He puts America first.
All the people?
All of the people, every single one.
No, he doesn't.
And also keep in mind that he's not taking a salary for this job as president. What kind of only a truly good person would do that. That's all.
It's okay. The oligarchs are putting money in his pocket, so it's all right.
Yeah, so Trump not taking a salary for his presidency
Yeah.
would be the equivalent of me like not taking $1 from a homeless guy. It's not that impressive. Secondly, the whole idea of America first, Trump threw that out pretty early in this second term. The moment he wanted Canada to join America, and oh yeah, didn't he just say something about spending a whole lot of money on the Gaza Strip and turning it into like a retreat? That's really not putting America first, is it?
Gentlemen, the previous administration left American troops, American equipment right there on the Gaza Strip for the Taliban to use. They were letting migrants just walk right into the country without any kind of documentation, killing innocent Americans, and the economy went to shit under them. Under Trump, he's making sure that migrants come in here legally. He's getting rid of all the people who are dangerous, and
So,
I guarantee you, pretty soon the
John,
price will.
John, are you aware of the current rate that Trump is deporting people in America? Do you have the number of the amount of people he's deporting?
No, I don't have a number, but I know he's doing the
So
right thing.
here's the number. If Trump keeps up at the pace that he's doing of deporting people from America, he'll deport half the amount of people that Biden did. So
That's
he's
not-
really not being very effective. He is just
That's not-
he's targeting people who are otherwise a benefit to the country and ignoring the ones who are due for proper processing and deportation. He's putting twice as much energy into hunting down people and to do half of the job is my point. Right? Even Barack Obama was known as like the king of deportation. Trump hasn't even got a chance at catching those numbers for both Biden or Barack Obama at his current pace. And he's going to spend twice as much money doing it.
Gentlemen, you have no idea what you're talking about. Trump is getting rid of all the people who are dangerous. You know how many Americans were killed?
Oh,
by
really?
people?
All the people that are dangerous, huh? Yeah. That include the children? Those children are dangerous.
You shouldn't be here. If you're here illegally, you shouldn't be here at all. You have to come in the right way. It's like just like your ancestors did. Just like my ancestors did. That's how it works.
Oh, you came in the right way, did you?
Yeah.
No, you didn't. He came in and took over land and practically annihilated the original Aboriginal people that lived there.
Well, so the your answer is if you go by that logic. And keep in mind, if you read your history, they weren't wiped out; they were traded out. It was a mutual cooperation.
Oh, buddy, you haven't obviously read your history books. I don't know. Your history books and ours up here in Canada must be different.
I've studied history many times, gentlemen, more than you have.
Oh, have you?
I know what I'm talking about. Yep.
Oh, sure you do.
Well, history or not, you're not even looking at the numbers that are present day. Like the last 10 years or even 16 years, your information is out of date. Trump is clearly not putting Americans first. His idea of America first is have Americans pay more money for imports. His idea of America first is let's go build a beach resort on land America doesn't own that will be priced so high no average American will ever be able to afford to visit, while displacing 1.8 million people who have rights to that territory. And on top of that, and probably the stupidest thing he said, he thinks that Jordan or Egypt are just going to be like, oh shit, yeah, you guys can stay in my basement or sleep on my couch.
No, they've already said no. They've already said fuck that. Yeah.
Like, this is not an American first president. This is a Trump first president.
Gentlemen, I don't know why you're supporting the previous administration.
His approval rating is very low right now, FYI.
Yeah, but I guarantee you wanted his successor, Harris, who lied about everything about her past. You want
sure she did.
South, yeah, she grew up in Montreal.
Yeah, you really drank the Kool-Aid there, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think it's the other way around, gentlemen.
Cool. Thanks for calling then. I mean, we're all just going to sit here and be like, nah. Then this becomes a pointless and silly call.
Yep.
I mean, I'm looking at the actual numbers of things reported by actual trustworthy sources. I'm not just sitting and listening to Trump and taking everything at face value. So when Trump says that Kamala's insane because of the way she laughs and that she slept her way to the top and she was a DEI hire, which I don't know how you're a DEI hire in an elected position, but whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds to me, John, you're the one who is sitting there saying, or sitting there and drinking all of Trump's Kool-Aid, where I could probably present to you 15 independent, different sources that will, at the very least, within a 5% margin, report the same numbers. But the only thing you're spouting is the same crap that Trump has been spouting for 4 years.
Yeah, ask him about.
I guess we're going to have to agree to disagree.
No, I'm not going to agree to disagree, John. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Yeah, like evidentially wrong. Like,
yeah.
What do you think about him cutting out the veterans' health payments? People that literally were about to give their lives for your country, but he cut off their payments. That was pretty cool.
And how about his sudden found religion? I love how the man doesn't even know a single passage in the Bible, and yet he'll sit there at a prayer dinner or a prayer breakfast and talk about how almost getting shot, or almost getting killed, rather, because he did get shot, almost getting killed has made him a changed man. And even then, he didn't say it made him believe in God more or more religious. He just says, it did something to me. And yeah, he is just fooling Christians to follow along because they're votes. And they're probably the last ones that will protest or kick up the stink when in 4 years he decides, no, I'm just going to stay here. I'm not going to leave.
I like Master Maverick, even though I haven't agreed with much of what they said. But Master Maverick said, DEI hire for Trump. Let's get all the billionaires in. Exactly.
Yeah. Sorry, did John hang up?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
All right, that's fine. That's good. You know
what? He heard nothing. He just basically.
I consider that a victory. I have been listening to that voice represent our country on call-in shows like this for years, and I have actively been trying to get in here at some point. This was for me, maybe not for anyone else out there, but for me was a meeting I was waiting for a long time, because that man has been dragging Canadians through the mud in my opinion. Just
Who,
in the way
John?
he represents his ideas. Yeah, it's absolute horse crap.
I agree.
And him hanging up, I'm gonna sleep so good tonight, Neil. I'm gonna sleep so good tonight.
Otto says that John is a serial caller and has
Yeah.
never had a sane narrative. I agree.
Yeah, like I said, I've been listening to John call all of the shows are like this, all over the
Mark
place.
the Beast. I guess you have to believe in a devil too for that to happen. I don't believe in any of that shit because it's all mythology to me. It just happens to be the mythology that stuck and kept going for some reason.
Yeah. He's not an American first president. He's a Trump first president.
Yeah.
And somebody back there keeps telling him some weird random numbers. And, I bet you somebody in his cabinet, someone on his team that's really close to him, probably treats him a lot like a mom would treat their young child, where everything they do is great. Oh, you're so good, honey. Oh, you're so smart, sweetie. Somebody is blowing smoke up his ass over there. Somebody, it must be. Because he can't be that delusional on his own.
I have no idea what the hell's going on in the chat now, man.
Oh, yeah? What's going on in the chat?
I don't know.
Oh, Master Maverick. Yeah, Master Maverick's been in a few chats where I've been present for a while. I would love Master Maverick to call in. That would be a great interaction.
What Neuralink, Stargate, and Vaxes? What about Vaxes? You know what's funny? If you go to, there's a few of them that I saw these guys visit a few graveyards, and if you go to these graveyards, these are really, really old graveyards, and if you go to them, and past a certain year, there's tons of little tiny graves. But once vaccines were created and introduced, those graves are gone. No more little tiny graves. Occasionally, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But now those graves are gone. Why? Because vaccines save lives. That's why. Children actually make it out of their 5th year before they have to get buried at a young age, right? So vaccines work.
And I wonder the Stargate thing is referring to this new conspiracy theory where there's an AI generated image of like a working Stargate or something bullshit going around. So now people are doing this whole like other dimension gateway that was opened up by whatever.
What?
I don't know.
By CERN?
Yeah, something like that. I only just heard about it for the first time today, randomly in passing. I didn't pay much attention.
These are people that don't understand what's going on there. That's all that is. See, I find that a lot of these people are lazy. They don't want to learn. They have lazy brain. They just want to think whatever they're told. Oh, that must be what it is. Sure, sounds logical. But no one's opening up portals to other dimensions. Like, how would you even do that? How? As far as quantum physics is concerned, these other dimensions are we can't get into them. They're too small. We can't. Like, it's not a thing. So and there's about 10 or 11 that they figure, but they just get smaller and smaller, right, as it goes. So we'll never know unless our technology reaches a point, but you and I won't be alive for that. It's silly, it's ridiculous, and it's just and lazy thinking will lead you to believe all kinds of stuff. We were talking about that last night. The first time ever we had an ex conspiracy theorist on the show. So we were talking about all kinds of crazy stuff like that they used to believe. And of course they were also atheist as well. We didn't really get it. I said, are you a believer or non-believer? She goes, oh, I'm a non-believer. My fascinated much were half-ass believers. So
I'm fascinated by the idea that this person was a conspiracy theorist and not specifically like a flat earther or something. So in other words, this person believed in multiple conspiracies, right?
They were dabbling in the 9/11 one.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy Hook, stuff like that.
Okay, so like
dabbling a little bit into the Holocaust denialism type thing and whatnot.
So what I'm fascinated by is the idea that once they were able to like drop one of those conspiracies, that apparently the rest of them fell pretty easily, I guess. Right? Like it's interesting. If you can get past one conspiracy, the rest will just go away.
Yeah.
And of course, the biggest conspiracy of them all, the Bible.
Yeah. Well, Master Maverick was saying earlier in the chat that you don't know how to interpret the Bible. Well, I hate to break it to you, Master Maverick, nobody does.
Yeah.
It's all opinion based. It's all subjective opinion based. That's why there are close to 30-something thousand different denominations of Christianity, because you guys can't agree on what the literal translation is. There is no literal translation. It's just a bunch of patched together stories from thousands of years ago, and that they decided almost 1,000 years later which ones were going to be canon at the Council of Nicaea and whatnot. So it's not. It's personal experience. Okay, so argument from personal experience is a logical fallacy.
Have you seen these? Have you seen these YouTube shorts, Neil, where they put like a Gen Zer and like a Gen Xer like on either side of a wall, and they'll do things like pretend you're answering a phone, and one goes like this, and the other one goes like this, right? And there's these interesting differences. I would wager if you took any two Christians on each side of that wall and basically said, interpret this passage, it would instantly, on the first passage, they would both have different interpretations of it.
Like, absolutely, of course they would. There's another argument that I really, really enjoy that says if humanity were to be wiped clean, just for whatever, a big asteroid knocks us out, slowly but surely new intelligent beings evolve. All of the science that we have discovered would be the same. Religion would not be.
Right.
If it even evolved.
Even if all the information was lost. Yeah.
If and the books were all gone. Yeah. The science would come back just the way it was. Religion would not. And human beings are a perfect example of why that is. If you look at all the different areas on the globe that we grew up isolated because we didn't have the kind of travel that we do today, multiple different religions. There have been thousands of different religions in human history, right? And most of them go by the wayside, either because they're from small populations that eventually fizzle out or whatever. But the big ones that have stayed are, you got Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, although Judaism is pretty small these days. Islam, of course, which is the second largest. Hinduism, I think it's the third largest. You got Buddhism. You've got all kinds of different religions out there. And they don't all agree on everything. So it's one of the, when I was growing up, that's one of the main things that put me off of religion to begin with, is because there's all these different ones. Well, how do you even know which one is telling you the truth? And the truth of that is none of them are. They're telling you what they want you to think is true. It's all for control. And the gullible and weak that couldn't read at the time were easy to control with stuff like that.
Yeah, and we can take that example even a step further, and then we can see technologies being developed virtually in the same way in different civilizations who have never met or had any opportunity to, right? Like boats and canoes. Like every ancient civilization had their own way to travel across the water, and they were surprisingly all very similar in design, right? I mean, we've got South American
mind, though.
Yeah. We've got South American pyramids and the Egyptian pyramids. Like interesting that, huh? How that
There's
worked
also
out.
other types of pyramids too, all over Asia.
Yeah.
But because that type of foundation will last, that's why they built them.
Yeah.
They're good, solid foundations, and they last.
The math works no matter who discovered it.
Yep. But yeah, no, religion would not come back the same way at all. There wouldn't be a God or a Jesus. There would be some other entities that they prescribe to being the deities.
In fact, if one Harry Potter book survived this scenario, that would become
a religion. Yeah.
Right?
And it would be equally as hard to prove being real.
And the irony would be only 6 pages of it would survive, and yet they would still come up with 66 books and staple them together. Like,
yeah. The ziggurats in Mesopotamia. Yeah. Hi, Alma. And it's true. If that were to happen, religion would not be anything close to what it is today. It would be something completely, even if it evolved with the species that came after us. Likely that it would, because that's, at least we as humans, I can only speak for humans because that's what I am. We didn't understand everything. So we had to, come up with ideas that were satisfying, at least for the time, of why there's lightning, why does the volcano erupt, why does the sun go this way and then that way and go away and come back, and they didn't know where the sun went at night during the time they wrote the Bible. They didn't even know that. So, yeah, I mean, but we know better now. And this whole, I think one of the craziest stories, it's like for human technology and what we were capable of, even during the time of the flood, people had boats. So I don't like, there were lots of boats around. So,
Yeah.
Oh shit, it's getting pretty high, the water here. Honey, let's wheel out the little canoes and let's go. Right? Like,
Yeah.
like that would have
But
happened.
Noah's
The flood never
unrealistic
happened.
ark survived it with
Yeah.
no nails and no iron and
Oh yeah, the ark with all those different animals and
with the weight of the
gas would have killed
dinosaurs
them
on
in the-
board.
Yeah, right. The methane gas would have killed them within the first 24 hours.
Yeah. And of course the infamous heat problem, but
Right.
I mean, I also like to kind of think sometimes that religions and things like the Bible were also created for health and safety reasons a little bit too. Like, I'm not a huge proponent of marriage, for example, right? Like, it's not an important thing for me, whether it's a religious idea or not. But I kind of feel like that in the Bible, the idea of like monogamy and marriage was probably also just like if you want, because back then they didn't have contraceptives and things like that, right? So it's probably just the safer way. Like, if you don't want to have an itchy area, then just stick to one person and be faithful. That's your best bet. And you know what? In fact, we'll make it a law in this book I'm writing here with my 12 buddies. And we'll tell you that that's the way it should be because, the made up man upstairs said so. And I mean, yeah, like I'm all for like, one partner and all that stuff because, it's nicer. It means a lot. And it's a hell of a lot safer than just being promiscuous. But
Promiscuous? Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, that you
leads
can
to
be
bad
nowadays if you want to, because there's so many ways to be safe and we can test and we have medicine. Where back then I would wager that it was just like this is probably just the best idea. Let's just not go around town and just do whatever.
Yeah. Like one of my favorite expressions by Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson is, I'm not quoting this verbatim because my memory sucks, but as science and technology advances, it goes something like this. As science and technology advances, God is an ever-shrinking pocket of knowledge.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking about today? Where does God live?
I love the people that say outside of space and time, which basically means he doesn't exist because you require both for existence.
Right, but then if he creates, I was thinking to myself, like,
at least here in this universe.
As a kid, it was always like God's in heaven. And I'm like, but wait a minute, didn't he create heaven? So where was he living before then? So was he homeless? Like this?
He's living in his mom's
God
basement.
Homeless? I don't know. It was a weird thought I had. I was driving around with my dog, just doing errands and things, and it started to dawn on me. It's like
living in your heart. Ouch! I should probably have him surgically removed. Then, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That would.
And then I was thinking about that whole trope of like he's all around you, and I'm just thinking to myself like, so if he's all around everywhere,
I need another shower now, Justin. Thanks.
Yeah, don't worry, you'll have an opportunity. But
to shower.
Yes, I'm sure you will. Yeah,
I hope so.
You got lots of water here in Canada. You'll be all right.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
it was my turn
and
last week.
And we don't have tariffs yet, so you can still use your American soap.
I don't use American soap.
Actually, I haven't even considered my soap. Do I have to change soap now too? Oh well.
Just buy Safeguard. Isn't Safeguard Canadian?
I don't know. Before this whole tariff thing, there's so much I just didn't think about.
I know.
And now I want to be part of the solution and not the problem and be thoughtful about it. And I'm finding myself like, do I buy Lay's or do I buy the Canadian, Uncle Ray's? And it's like, well, I don't know, it's a tough decision. And even then too, in a way, the Lay's package says that they're made in Canada, but I happen to know it's an American company. So where's
Yes.
the line, right? I don't know.
Well, the potatoes come from Canada. They're packaged up here. It's
Yeah.
made in Canada, but it's not a product of Canada. You want to look for things that say product of Canada, because when they say
But am I
that, they're
not
at
still
least
supporting a Canadian
85%.
company?
You are supporting the Canadian branch of Lay's, but some of that money also goes down to the American branch. So
Okay.
I shower with maple syrup.
That explains
Attaboy,
so
Jason.
much. I bet you that helps keep the
That's how I do my
glasses
nipple
on.
waxing.
I bet you
with maple
Jason's
syrup.
glasses never fall off because he showers with maple syrup. You see what
Master Maverick seems to be under the impression that that somehow you guys have, for Christians, have free will. If God has a plan, you don't have free will.
I'm purposely trying not to engage
He's
with the
omniscient,
Master
you don't
Maverick
have
in the
free will.
chat because I would rather him call in.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
Yeah, because
Omniscience
Master
means no
Maverick's got
free
a
will
lot
either.
to say, and we're here, ready to engage. And in any case, we can tangent a little bit more though, Neil. You seen what Amazon's doing in Quebec?
I'm sorry, see what?
You see what Amazon is doing in Quebec?
I don't think I'm knowing what
So-
you are speaking of.
So in Quebec, Amazon has a total of 7 fulfillment centers.
Beautiful province too, by the way.
Yeah. Which is massive. 7 fulfillment centers in a Canadian province. That's a lot. Just
That's
like
true.
that's a lot. Well, the employees of Amazon Quebec formed a union.
Did they?
Yes.
Perfect.
And in 2 months they will all be unemployed.
What?
Yeah, so Bezos is going to shut down all 7 fulfillment centers in the next 2 months, claiming that it would be more cost effective for delivery to be handled by local companies.
Oh, he's only claiming that after they decided to go to union, though.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So interesting, right?
That's fuck Bezos.
Yeah. So by like around the end of March, late April, 16 or 1700 employees will be unemployed because the Amazon fulfillment center in their area will be shut down. I mean, the mom and pop shops and the local UPSs and Canada Posts, I mean, they're about to get busy, I guess. And delivery
Yeah.
times are about to go from like next day to, a week.
Maybe next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
it's unfortunate. Bezos is
and I
kind of a
believe
dick.
BC just formed a union as well. So let's see if he follows suit. But it's
I don't get it. Like what the fuck, dude? You make enough fucking money. Let people have unions. Like, aren't you? You should be pro that kind of shit because it gives people enough, money and power to stay on the better side of poverty. Let's just put it that way.
not only that, I personally believe that like happy employees are productive employees, right? And what better way to understand and be in communication with the population of your employees than to have a union to work with, to have a group of representatives go, hey man, we need another washroom because it's getting out of control or whatever. You could spend 10 grand, put another washroom in, and you just made 500 people really happy who are going to go work for another year with smiles on their faces. You know what I mean? Like, I believe that happy employees are productive employees. I would never
Fucking
want
rights they are.
anybody to work under like an iron fist. I've worked under iron fists and I've sued those iron fists and won a shit ton of money from those assholes.
Good.
And that can't be a good way to do business because that's a
No.
very expensive way to do business.
We're having very similar issues with GFL right now, some of the workers, because they have decided to pull back on a lot of things that they were doing that were keeping their employees happy. And at least in my area. So, they're still doing lots of stuff. Don't get me wrong. They're still doing lots of stuff. And they're not in my dislike pile yet because I've been employed there for over 15 years now. And they've always treated me well, right? They've always treated me well, but they've cut back on some things I think that they shouldn't have because I've noticed myself a decline in the happiness of the workers, the well-being of the workers, mental well-being of workers. So I think they should do better. And they make decent money at GFL, right? You know who GFL is.
No.
GFL, the lime green trucks that run around pick up your garbage.
Oh, we're in different provinces, man. Remember?
Yeah, they started in your province.
Oh, did they? Okay,
Yeah.
no, we got Waste Management here, so I don't know who GFL is.
Yeah, well, the Waste Management, I think, is the second biggest one, but GFL's been buying out a ton of different companies. So,
oh, okay,
they bought out the one I originally worked for, and that's why I'm now
okay.
with GFL. Right? So, yeah, no, I mean, they're a great company for what they do. Don't get me wrong, but I think they pulled back on a few, I'll say, gratuities, I guess, that have kind of put some people off a little bit, and I think that could be damaging for their company. So.
Well,
and I tell you what, if anyone from my company sees this, I'm probably going to get shit for this.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, my employer keeps me very happy. The only time they ever pissed me off was when I tried to get political on my own YouTube channel, and they told me I wasn't allowed to. So I started a different YouTube channel. It's fine. It was because some students saw this. It was back during the trucker convoy, and some students saw me bitching about those morons at the trucker convoy, and and apparently my use of the word moron offended some former students of the school or something because they knew what my YouTube channel was. So I just went and started a new YouTube channel, and I don't share it with anybody from the school. But other than that little incident, and the woman who told me to do that doesn't work there anymore either, by the way. So, but so other than that little incident, I love my job, and they keep me very happy. And
I like
they
my
give
job
me
too.
anything. Yeah, they give me anything I want and everything I want. If I want to make a change to the course or an adjustment to something or whatever, I get full support. I'm not stifled in my creativity. They're always happy to see me at the meetings and stuff. I look forward to work every day. In fact, when you look forward to it, it's not really working, right?
Exactly. I agree with you, and I do too, Ed, because I love playing in a lab. I love being a science guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like crafting my own worlds.
Well, yeah, your job is like you're just playing for work.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Literally, when it's time for submission and I've got to do grading, it's literally like playing a bunch of video games that students play and just deciding whether they're good or not. And when they're good, I lose hours.
Yeah. I'm come on, call in, Maverick. We want to talk to you. You seem to think that you can have free will with an omniscient being. No, you can't. It's contradictory.
Yeah. I don't buy the free will thing.
No. Neuroscience has already disproven free will, so.
And even then, like, how can you call it free will with a God who knows everything? It would be.
That's what I mean.
It's
omniscience.
Yeah, it's silly. It's just silly, and that's the nice way to put it.
It absolutely is contradictory, Master Maverick, and that's so sad that you can't see that. Like I actually feel my heart bleeds for you.
Yeah, it's the whole like
You're so trapped in this, man.
If we go to dinner and order a steak, was it free will of the waiter to bring me a steak? Not really. Like,
well, no, but you could say it was your free will that you ordered the steak because you could have ordered the chicken. Who orders chicken over a steak? I know Mikey doesn't because he doesn't eat chicken. He can't eat chicken.
Yeah. I was out shopping earlier before the show, and eggs were $3.50 Canadian. Just putting that a little out there. I found that to be some of the lowest prices I've seen in years, actually.
He seems to equate free will with debates now. I'm not sure how that works. We have what most neuroscientists say. We have what is an illusion of free will. We'd like to. Our egos kick in, and I've got free will. You can't tell me that I'm not making my own decisions. Well, you technically are, but your brain will make a decision before you even know you've made the decision. How? It goes on previous data. So that's how your brain works.
Yeah, the free will and debate. Yeah.
I don't know how he's tying those together. That's weird to me, but okay. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think I have any more bad news to share, Neil.
Yeah, I know. I don't either.
Yeah. So if Maverick's not going to call in, maybe a friend of the channel would call in and just say hi.
Libertarian free will? What does that even fucking mean?
Yeah. Wish they would call in and explain it to us.
Libertarians are whack jobs anyway. So sorry, that's just my opinion, which is subjective. So there you go.
Trump wouldn't change any of his decisions. Every decision Trump has ever made is a decision that he would make again. Therefore, no free will.
He's I was just looking at the Gallup poll stats on Trump's presidencies, and more people are always disapproving of what he's done than are approving of what he's done.
It's a big trend. I don't think I've ever clicked on any of the videos yet because I feel like they're clickbaity, but I see a lot of headlines on YouTube, especially saying things like MAGA supporter wishes they hadn't voted for Trump, or MAGA supporter regrets their vote. Like, that seems to be a popular headline for YouTube videos. I haven't clicked on a single one yet because I feel like it's probably just like, I don't know, some kind of clickbaity thing. But it's an interesting idea. And meanwhile, over on the other side of the world's largest undefended border, I mean, previously undefended border, the liberals were sinking huge against conservatives. And then when Trudeau announced his whole stepping down, liberals are like neck and neck with the conservatives now in the polls, huh?
Pretty close, yeah. Well, it's because
fantastic.
Polyev keeps saying stupid shit, and he's losing his popularity.
And Mark Carney sounds like he's going to be a lot of fun. I'm kind of interested to see Carney against Trump.
You should see what the conservatives say about him. Oh, you guys, I got a great. Oh, Jesus, my hair gets everywhere. I got a great recommendation for you. If you're on TikTok, go follow a guy who's a social political psychologist, and he'll tell you all the differences between liberals, progressives, conservatives, et cetera, on a psychological level. And my mind was blown by this guy. His name's Keegan. Look him up on TikTok, and he goes off on all kinds he even goes after liberals too, because we aren't the sharpest either all the time. I consider myself to be a progressive liberal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean,
would you be a liberal voter or an NDP voter?
It depends on, see, unlike a lot of people, I don't vote because I just, he's the new conservative. I got to vote for that guy here. He's the new NDP. I got to vote for that guy because I just like that guy. I go for what their platforms are. I vote based on platform.
Yeah, well, you've got that freedom here in Canada because there's many platforms to choose from, not just two.
Correct. I've voted Green in the past. Way back in the 80s, I even voted for the Rhino Party once. I've also voted Liberal, and I've also voted NDP. I have never in my life voted Conservative because our ways of thinking just don't align. So, fiscally conservative is a little bit different story, right? Even NDPs and Liberal leaders have had fiscal conservatism to some degree. So, but that's a little bit different. I've always voted to the left, we'll say. To the left.
Yeah.
Right, so
I didn't realize how more indoctrinated I really was as a teenager until I started to look more into politics in general. Trump kind of made me very interested in American politics because during his first terms, for me, it was almost comedy. It's not comedy anymore. I don't hold that stance any longer. But I also started paying closer attention to American politics. And I can actually tell you that in high school, when we were all about to be turning 18, they used to have us take a class during an election year to get us to go conservative. But I didn't realize that they were trying to lean us conservative in Catholic school. Like, we would literally talk on the bus rides home. Like, if I was 18, I'd vote PC, and because blue is the best. And yeah, by the way, in Canada, blue is our Republican, if you will, and red is the Liberal. But in any case, I remember having conversations on the bus of PC is the best, conservatives the best, and I didn't know what I was saying. I was just saying it because the teachers told me to say it. And now I'm just like, PC, oh man.
The progressive conservatives, they're different from the conservatives that we have now. Very much so.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. We also have the Social Credit Party, if you remember those guys.
No.
Yeah, they're a little bit different too. Maverick has called himself a genius, which I find hysterical.
Yeah, I tell
If you're a
people that all the
genius,
time.
why do you
Never
fall
goes
for-
well.
I'm a certified genius of probably half his age. Well, age has nothing to do with it. Well, no, actually, with age comes wisdom, not so much knowledge.
I'm curious about the certified genius. That's interesting.
Certified by who?
What is? Yeah, because even a certified genius would tell you that's a meaningless thing to say.
Yes, exactly. A certified genius isn't going to come out and say I'm a certified genius. They're just going to let you do your spiel, and then they're going to counter.
Yeah,
that's how it's.
Trump doesn't stand on stage and remind people how rich he is. He doesn't do that.
The will of a rock is unknown until you can speak rock. I like this Sven guy. Certified by his mom. Well, my mom says I'm certifiable.
My mom is certifiable.
My mom says I'm handsome.
Yeah, my mom says that to me all the time.
But
Yeah.
I think Maverick's too afraid to call in, so I don't think he actually wants to deal with this.
Based on the chat of Maverick out there, anyways, all over the place and doesn't seem to be able to stick to a topic. His free will is running wild, and it wouldn't probably be a very productive conversation. But yeah,
the more we learn about the human brain, it doesn't surprise
I want to
me.
Google certified genius and just be like, how much did that cost? That's what I want to know. How much do you spend to become a certified genius? Because to certify things, sometimes it's usually just like a lawyer. You sign a page and you pay a couple bucks. You're certified.
Hell, an ombudsman can do that for you too.
Oh, man.
I don't know if they have ombudsmen in the States. I don't know if they do.
But I mean, I know there's Mensa, but would you consider Mensa to be like an organization that certifies you as a genius, or is it just a club of smart people?
Is it trustworthy? I don't think so.
No, I mean, well, last I know, I'm not a genius. I'm not sure how that grammar works. To my knowledge, Mensa requires you to have an IQ of 140, and IQ is not a good measure of. Yes, but it's also not a good measure of an individual's intelligence.
Correct.
Like IQ scores only really work well to measure
which
the
IQ test did you take?
Yeah,
because there are many.
Yeah, well, with Mensa, you take their IQ test, right? You got to pay $300 and take their IQ test. The point is that IQ is better for measuring the intelligence of a population and not necessarily an individual. So if the wall to joining Mensa is 140 IQ, it's like, well, that doesn't really work anymore. They need new rules to be part of Mensa. But that's all I know about it. You'll have to ask someone like Maverick all the details because they're certified.
Right. I missed something.
Me too.
Somebody said that comment to Alma. Yeah, I've missed lots in my time. Comment to Alma was the last straw. Oh, okay. I don't know which comment you mean. I didn't really see anything that was all that bad, really.
Oh, I think Maverick was kicked. I think that's what's happened.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Yeah. Okay. Maverick's been showing up a lot more in chats, even on my own channel. And
really?
Yeah. I'm not aware who Maverick is. They come into the chats and they basically start out fairly easy, and I almost feel like they work their way to getting burned. They've been on TKA recently, like the Kentucky Atheist and stuff. So, yeah, they're a new face in the chat that we might have to watch out for. I wish they would have called in. It would have been great to interact with them, but that's all right. I can interact with you anytime.
Oh, the one I read. Oh, okay. Been certified as the waifu. Alma's my waifu. Love you, baby. All right. So yeah. You forgot the A. It's WAIFU. Come on, get it right. You don't watch enough anime. I'm a total.
What a great audience and a great chat. I love this channel. I love coming here. Always.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yep.
I think we have a good time. Yeah,
I don't know. How do we do that? How can we go through 90 minutes of a program and end with that was a good time, and all we did was like say shit that
Just
would
bullshit about
depress a normal person? You hear what Trump did today? It's hilarious. Check out this good time that we're gonna have.
Yeah, but you and I are Canadian. That's why we can laugh at it and just sit back and go.
Yeah,
You know,
maybe we
but the
shouldn't
thing
laugh
is,
so much.
though, it will have an effect on us one way or another, right? So we have to. It's all right, Alma. We'll have to. We have to deal with it, right? And this is something that I want to make really, really clear because I've been noticing a lot of shit that, I know that what's going on with the states, throwing tariffs around. There's a couple of things I want to address here. First of all, you don't tell us to watch our borders when it's your people's fucking job to watch the people that go over to your sides. You got to tell your fucking people to watch the borders better.
Yeah,
if the
it's a little bit like your house.
It's not our fucking fault.
Yeah,
it's
yours. It's a little bit like your house is burning down, and you're mad at your neighbor because their sprinkler system sucks.
It's right. Or it works and yours doesn't. It's like, what the fuck, It's like, I'm sorry, but you have to pay attention to your own goddamn borders. You don't throw that on us. It's not our fault you're letting these things through.
The amount of people we're catching crossing over from America into Canada because we've elevated those securities too is fascinating.
I know, but I think they're
kind of had an
fleeing the
opposite
bullshit.
effect. Yeah, but we're gonna put more boulders up to block the traffic. Do you see that? These guys came across the American-US-Canada border, driving into Canada in their truck because they were illegal immigrants in America. So they were like, let's go to Canada then. They drove the truck over a boulder because I guess in some parts of our border, we just have giant boulders like every few feet. So one of the things that
like Canada the giant tap.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that Canada has promised is we're going to put more boulders. Literally, like that's what it says. We'll put more boulders. It's like in Alberta and BC, like right around there. We'll put more boulders.
The fentanyl traffickers go, well, we have ladders.
Yeah.
We have
orange cones that we can put around the boulders so we don't crash our trucks.
Yeah. And the other thing is I think it saddens me, although, I'm part of me is like, yeah, I'd probably do it too, is all the booing that we're hearing of the U.S. national anthem or whatever at sports arenas and stuff like that. Whenever they're playing an American team, they play the American anthem and there's booing happening.
It saddens me only because it's kind of like a time that's now seems to be lost. For now, I'm accepting it as a form of protest. But in a year or 2 or 4 years from now, if they're still booing that national anthem, then I'm pretty sad. Sorry, go ahead.
My whole point is we've been, like we were saying earlier, we've been allies with the U.S. for centuries. And right now, a lot of our brothers and sisters down there in the U.S. are not doing well, especially marginalized groups. We need to be there for them. We need to not start acting like children that had their candy taken away from them, right?
Yeah.
We need to be there for them. We need to be able to reach out and say, hey, you know what? You need help? We got your back. Because we have to we have to be there for the people that are hurting. And they're all going to let them boo and stuff in the chat. I know it's only probably temporary, but I don't think that shows solidarity or decency. Maybe that's just
it doesn't show decency. I think it shows solidarity for Canadians. Like it shows Canadians like being strong together. You're not wrong, Neil. You're right. It's in bad taste. It is. But
that's what
as Canadians, we don't have a whole lot that we can do to oppose what's happening in America. And that's one way that we can show on a national stage to Americans that I think for some Americans, that boo shows we're with them. Like,
yeah, you're probably
right. Those same brothers and sisters you mentioned in America, some of them are literally living in their own country afraid.
Mm-hmm.
because of some of these, like the gender orders that Trump is passing, for example. Like we've got some friends over there that are actually living scared in their own country, and that's
Yeah.
not right. So
There's thousands of people are living that.
yeah, for now, I think Canadians booing on like national television when they play an American team is showing some Americans we're with them. It's not showing everyone that we're against them.
Yeah. All right. I can get along with that. And I'm all for booing if the Rangers are playing.
But I hope it doesn't become a trend like a WWE chant where it's just a new thing that happens all the
Yeah,
time
no.
for the next 20 years. Like no, because that would be just terrible. But for now, if it's just to show like distaste for Trump, then cool. 4 years and then cut it out.
Yeah, Jason said
in
booze
fact,
for the president, which I would be on board with.
Yeah, in fact, I would wager with the good sense and the humor of Canadians that the second that a different person is crowned president in 4 years, that Canadians will stand up and sing along the loudest you ever heard anyone sing an American national anthem to like exclamation point the ending of a regime.
Of the tyranny, yeah. We'll be clapping.
And
it looks like we have a call, dude. Should
I'll
we take
a
one
call.
more?
Yeah.
Caller is still being screened currently. So
but yeah, I can see your point, Neil, about the booing at the games. It's not really representative of a Canadian attitude. Like there was a lot of people around the globe probably pretty shocked at Canadians booing the American.
I will say probably for what's going on is what they're booing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not booing, and I would wager, even unless they're a complete moron, even the American players on the American team, if they have good sense, even they must recognize that like they're not booing me. Right? Like
yeah.
And I don't think any of the Americans doing Canadians doing the booing are booing the team. They're booing what is happening over there. And we were so close to tariff time.
All right. That's true too. That's true too. All right. You've altered my opinion. You're probably right. It's just when I first saw that, I was like, oh, come on, guys. We got more class than that.
Yeah. I would hate for the next Olympics when Team America walks out if everyone in booed. That would probably be a little hurtful to the athletes. Hopefully it doesn't get that bad. But
Mikey said something interesting. Canadians booing means they are paying attention. So in a way, it means they have our back.
Yeah. I saw an interesting news report on TV where during the whole, like when we were still like when tariffs were still coming, this news reporter was right outside of an LCBO. Now, if anyone doesn't know, that's the big local liquor store here in Ontario.
Liquor Board of Ontario.
Yeah. And they polled the people coming out of the liquor store how they felt about the incoming tariffs, and their poll, which obviously was a small sample size, but it's still fun. So their poll indicated that 90% of the people they asked coming out of the liquor store were like stopping to buy American products, even though they're going to miss their Bud and their like favorite beers and stuff, but they're just going to stop, and they're totally cool with it. Like when Doug Ford was like, we're just going to ban American alcohol on our shelves, 90% of them were cool with it. The other 10% were like, I'm cool with it, but I'm going to buy as much as I can of it right now. That was the other 10%. They were coming out with like cases of Jack Daniels and stuff. They're just like running. They're like, yeah, it's cool, but I'm getting a year's supply right now, if that's okay.
All right. Bree has let me know that the caller is waiting for us to answer or to pick up the call. So we've got Ditso, I think is, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, from Costa Rica.
I'm familiar with
Ditso. All right. Wants to talk about Trump's first 100 days as seen from a Latin American perspective.
Ditso, how are you? Is this the same Ditso from Friday night on another channel?
Yeah.
Hi, Ditso.
Are you stalking me too, like Maverick?
Hey, hello, Neil. How are you? Good to meet you.
I am well.
I'm glad. So
you're a little quiet. I don't know if you can take one step closer to your mic.
Can you hear me better there?
A little
Yes.
bit better.
Yes,
Better?
a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Costa Rica.
All right. There we go. Okay. So how about those Yankees?
Is that
Well-
a football team or something? I'm not sure.
I think he means in the like in the state sense, not the team sense.
Oh,
Like-
okay.
yeah.
I know there's some sort of super
I thought
something
there
ball
was
going on.
tantrum on that one. Nah, dude, I tell you, after Marco Rubio was down here, he came Panama, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Dominican Republic. The feeling down here is, oh boy, we gotta get ready for war. That's the bottom line. That's like the line of thinking that we have in that sense. And of course,
Really?
kiss ass of Bukele, kissing ass to the North Americans. You know, he's not seen as of course, U.S. is Salvadorian. They'll defend Bukele, some of them. Others will criticize him. But for the rest of us Central Americans, what Bukele and Rodrigo Chavez did was not good. Rodrigo Chavez is almost out, president of Costa Rica. And, well, the feeling, I was in Panama when Marco Rubio was there, and I was here in Costa Rica when Marco Rubio came down to the country. The feeling was, yeah, let's get ready to war, just in case.
Well, I think the sentiment would probably be fairly universal, at least in my circles. Hopefully, it doesn't come to that.
Yeah. Yeah. But if it does, I've got my Canada Goose and my giant moose and hockey stick ready to go.
Yeah, with the chainsaw taped to the other end of the stick.
That's right. Or an axe or something.
Yeah,
Double-headed.
we call it a Canadian spear, chainsaw duct tape to the end of a hockey stick.
Yeah, I mean, we'll if that happens, with Trump, look, this first 100 days feels more like 100 years, man. Feels like he came in doubling down worse than what he was in his first administration. You know, doing all sort of crazy things, and right now, I think the best position of Latin America as well as the rest of the world is, you know what? Let's take him exactly at face value and hear what he has to do, what he's saying, and prepare. There's no meaningless or senseless maneuvering or precautions that we can take in case this guy really wants to go and invade Panama or invade Greenland or hell, try to annex Canada.
Well, I really hope it doesn't get to that point. I really don't want to see American troops step foot on anyone else's sovereign space. But if it comes to that, the first thing that happens is not going to be a violent retaliation. It's going to be sanctions. And for America, that would be devastating. So the reality is no other country would need to necessarily raise arms up against America. Just stop trading and that'll be it. It'll be over pretty quick. Because a country with a GDP on the global scale that they have, they would feel that pretty substantially. And America has never stood alone, right? America can't make a car without Mexico and Canada, right? They can't make oil without Mexico and Canada. So to be honest, it doesn't even need to happen on a global stage. All Mexico and Canada need to do is turn off the valve. And the entire eastern seaboard would go dark from Canadian electricity. And within a week, America would be out of oil. And they would have no more new cars. Like it would be a really fast downhill. In fact, something a lot of people aren't saying is Trump keeps talking about cars, and we don't need Mexico and Canada to make our cars, and they don't even buy our cars. He said that. That threw me off because
which is absolutely ludicrous.
Half of the cars on the road in Canada are either American or Honda. Like that's what they all are.
Yeah, they're all the Asian cars or the American cars.
Yeah. So I don't know how he thinks we don't buy American cars, but
Or European cars, because we got Beamers.
it's
and
not
Audi
just
and-
cars. Jeeps are a Canadian product. So all the army Jeeps they use, made in Canada.
invented here.
They're invented here. So yeah, never mind Trump going to war with another country. If both of our countries turn off those valves, it won't take long before they're just like Russia, right? Because the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Yeah, you tell Trump I'm going to go turn off that giant tap.
Yeah.
Well, in less than 100 days, he already bombed Syria. I mean, he's already bombed.
I don't.
Bomb Syria? When the hell did that happen? I
Real
missed
quick, did so.
it just
I'm not
happened.
aware of that, but even if I take your word for that, I don't think Trump is the only one who's been bombing places.
that. No, hell no.
I'm not saying that it's a good thing, but I mean, of all of the things we could hold against Trump, bombing a country probably isn't that special.
Yeah, but
to
look,
be
there's a
fair,
thing in Spanish. I'm gonna say in Spanish, and I'm gonna translate it real quickly. The saying says normally que Dios te haga profeta y no jetón. Since I'm an atheist, I change it. May time make you may time make you a prophet and not a completely and utterly wrong person. I do hope that in the eventuality that Trump goes off ballistic and sends military and invades Panama, invades Greenland, tries something funny with Canada, that all those sanctions and all that you mentioned does happen. But to be honest, in my experience on international law and international reaction times and everything, I ain't gonna wait that standing up. I do think, unfortunately, that United States can and will, even with Trump on presidency, get away with any form of action like that. At first, probably in the following years, yeah, the international pressure may start building up, but I would not see a big possibility of sanctioning United States in that way, because let's be face it, the UN is too chicken shit to do so.
I'm not finding anything on a Syrian strike from the U.S. from Trump today, or even in this new term. All I
in
can find is
2017, he declared war against Syria.
And France and the UK and everybody joined them. So it's still terrible. I'm not denying that, but
Well, of course.
Yeah, I did
it's
read
funny
that
because he claims there were no wars or terrorist attacks under his watch.
yeah, that's right. Eh? I didn't start or do any warring. And meanwhile, in 2018, he teamed up with France and the UK and went, "Let's go to Syria with our moms."
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I did read it, but I'm not finding it again. I did not save it, so I may be wrong on that.
So there is something interesting we can bring up. That might be the cause of this little bit of misinformation. Is someone has been going on Google and reposting with new dates on old articles. So, for example, a lot of the reported, a lot of the reported mass deportations that Trump is doing, if you read them carefully, you'll see it's updated 2025. And if you dig a little deeper, you'll find out that it was a story from 2017 about a raid on a place for deporting 17 people. I fell
for one of those.
Yeah, so it's possible maybe that like it was a date mix-up thing, but if you read deep enough, you'll realize quickly that like, wait a minute, this already happened. Or
I did find something, because one thing that's interesting on your point is that is happening in the English version of Google, but on the Latin American, that does not reflect it. The algorithm is interestingly different between what happens in English speaking versus Spanish speaking. I've noticed that in the last few years, how geolocation actually impacts the search engine for Google, for example, and on different languages. But the news I just located in Spanish was published MSN 6 days ago in Spanish, and that's what I
And
understood that the attack
is it
had
a
happened.
trustworthy Spanish
However,
outlet? Is it a channel you visit frequently and you find to be accurate? I mean, you know, is it the only channel reporting this?
it's the front page of MSN in the Spanish version, and I've been looking into other news. So right now, yeah, I may be looking at information that needs to be verified, but in the event of not, you know what? Because the other news that came out was in Infobae, which is a somewhat reputable newspaper in news section in Latin America. But yeah, so I may be completely and utterly wrong, and I've misread something around there. But
Whenever
the sense of
I was just gonna say, whenever I'm trying to collaborate, like, or corroborate, I believe is actually the right word, a news story, I look for multiple sources saying the same thing. I do the same thing when I shop, right? I look
Yeah,
at reviews
because
and I'll look at
they're
the
all
negative
opinion-based.
reviews,
yeah,
but I
same.
don't just read the one
Bias-based.
negative review and say, oh, well, it broke for this guy, so this thing must be crap. I look for the negative reviews where they're all saying the same thing, where like the color
Yeah.
faded in 3 days, and then I'll go, okay, then that must be true.
Probably not
So
a good idea.
yeah, so if you can find a lot more people
Could have been
saying,
a bad run, though.
could have,
Yeah,
no, there's,
I'll do the same thing. I tend to look for various sources, see if the news is repairable, etc. So yeah, in that sense, I perhaps read something in that line and thought I read that there was a strike, but probably was just talking about Syria. And damn, I handle too much information sometimes. That yeah, I'll give that one that I may have
yeah.
not misread in that sense. And I'm gonna say Infobae is not as reliable as most people think. Yeah, you know, it's got its moments of
I think
things.
they all do.
Anyhow,
Yeah.
they all do. But yeah, I mean, at this point, the best approach, and it's something we've been speaking in Latin America, and I've heard in Europe, and I've heard in Africa, with Trump and the actions of the United States in the next almost next 4 years. Yeah, the best recourse would be cautious about everything. Get ready for war, just in case. Get ready for tariffs, just in case.
Just remember, Trump is not America. He's just the president. So there's still some guardrails in place. Yes, he's actively trying to destroy and dismantle a lot of these guardrails. But now, finally, 3 weeks in, they're starting to catch up because he was going a little bit quick. So hopefully some of these guardrails will stay in place and it'll never happen, because Trump can't just say, go there with your guns and start pointing them at people. Like, he needs approval. And I don't even think every Republican is that crazy that they would go like, yeah, let's just go visit Panama with our tanks and see what they say. Like, that would be crazy.
Oh, wait. It wasn't Syria. Here we go. It was in Somalia. Airstrikes in Somalia. This was published 1 week ago. on Truth Social on Saturday that he had directed missile strikes against Islamic
On Truth
terror
Social.
group in Somalia, pledging we will find you. And I'm verifying it right now in Newsweek, WPRI Providence. Yeah, pretty much a week ago, he launched his first missile strike in Somalia. I was wrong in the place, but yeah, I knew I had heard that from different sources: BBC, NY Post, Newsweek, NPR.org, USA Today. I'm gonna put one of the links there so everybody can do a fact check. But yeah, he set that strike to Somalia, not Syria. My bad.
Yeah.
I put one of the links, and anybody can go ahead and just.
Looks like they were targeting ISIS. Hopefully, they were right, and that no one innocent got hurt. But I find it really hard to believe that you can throw a missile anywhere and not hit an innocent person.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's the point of it. Again, it's right now the world is saying on one side we got Putin almost at seconds at midnight before he launches a nuclear strike to Ukraine. On the other side, we got China wanting the hands on Taiwan, and then we got Trump wanting to go out, and so it's like a point of the world saying, what the hell? Let's get ready for war.
Yeah. Again, hopefully it won't go there. But I think sanctions will do enough for most of those scenarios. It may be likely that arms may need to be getting raised for others, but I mean, is Mexico part of NATO? First of all,
no, Mexico's not part of NATO.
Okay.
Right now, technically speaking, there's no Latin American part of NATO.
Yeah. So so as far as like Greenland and Canada goes, Trump would be the first crazy step he makes. If he steps into Mexico or Panama or Taiwan or Ukraine, there would be sanction city. And like I said, it's the bigger countries that will feel the sanctions the most. And you don't get too much bigger than, America is one of the biggest. Well, GDP wise, they're one of the biggest. What's up, Neil?
Just let me say, currently, there is a possibility of Mexico becoming a member of NATO.
Perfect. If that happens,
Argentina, Brazil, and Colombia are also looking for it. But...
Yep, they are.
And then instead of preparing for war, just start pushing that. Get into NATO, man.
Exactly.
And then,
though America's not a part of NATO currently, doesn't mean that it does not have allies in times of troubles. I think in time, probably within the next 5 to 10 years, you'll see a lot of South American countries becoming a part of NATO.
Yep.
And Mexico too, because Mexico's North American. I should clarify that. There's actually 31 or 33 countries in North America. So,
yeah, but even if inclining ourselves towards NATO, what's interesting about Trump and what Trump represents right now is the regression to isolationist principles. But the funny thing about this way of to be isolated in the Trump way is that for them to be isolated is don't fuck with us as long as we continue fucking with you. That's like the basic principle that guides this whole thing. They want to be isolated, but they want to govern over everybody else. So his weird position with the NATO, I think right now it is creating a rift, especially with Denmark UK, there's some line of it. Canada, well, you guys are going into an election, ain't you, Justin, this year or next year?
Yeah, late spring.
So, go ahead. Sir.
Our
I said
election is in late
election's
spring.
Late spring.
Late
By
spring.
by that time, Polyev should be way lower in the polls. So.
Well, Trump won, so right now, seeing the possibility of Polyev becoming PM of Ghana is not.
Yeah,
it's not something I would not. Yeah.
Did so in Canada, it's not that big a deal. Like literally, Polyev can be the prime minister, and we could still be very happy, because it doesn't mean really. It's not the same thing as like Mexico and America having a president. It's not.
No, we're very different here.
Our prime minister is just the leader of the majority party in our House of Representatives. That's it. Correct. We don't even elect the prime minister. We elect a party, and then they choose who the prime minister is going to be. So as long as Polyev's group doesn't get majority seats, like more than 51% of all the seats, it wouldn't be that terrible even if he did win. That's all that matters.
Yeah, we could still have a conservative leader and have a majority of Liberal or NDP seats in the House.
Yeah. I hope I cross my fingers that this next election Canadians do elect a good base in both in the whole sense of either the parliamentary with Liberals with a strong sense of being anti-Trump and this whole weird conservative pseudo-fascist movement that is happening across the whole world. And at the same time, that mitigates, if Polyev becomes PM, mitigates in that sense. So, you know, that's interesting because right now, elections, Honduras is changing president, Chile is changing president, Costa Rica is changing president. So those 3-4 countries that are changing president in the next year, in this particular year, can dictate an interesting rhythm alongside what's going to happen to Canada. Hopefully, it's going to be a rhythm that it's going to sound of saying to Trump, Mr. Trump, take care. Worry about your internal issues. Worry about your own sovereignty. But cooperation may dwindle a little bit until you are out of the presidency and we get a real president in the United States.
Well,
we'll see what's going to happen. This year is going to be crucial.
We'll do our part. You go do yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've already heard that we've started selling oil to China with 0 tariffs. So
we have.
Which is not just really great because we're selling less oil to America, but it's who we're selling it to. It's got to piss him off.
Again, if you look, no, I'm not getting into the whole TikTok thing because it's just ridiculous. Mostly that other site, the Red Box or whatever the fuck it was called, I don't know, where everyone jumped from TikTok over to that one and found out, oh, you know what? The Chinese people are awesome.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the average Chinese people, not the government.
Yeah. No, that was pretty cool to see. That was like a beam of light to see people realizing that, wait, China's not crazy. The people who live there are generally cool.
Yeah. Anyway, Dietzo, I want to thank you for calling. We got 2 more callers.
Yeah.
I want to get there too.
For having me, and Beshko Woblava, walk with your eyes open, pura vida. Thank you for having me.
You betcha.
I hold open panels all the time, so you and everyone in this chat should go subscribe to Skeptic Spin and pay attention for the next open panel, and then you can come join us over there.
I'm already subscribed, my friend Justin.
All right.
Go subscribe to my channel too. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, while you're there, check out Neil, the 604 Atheist. Yeah. And if you
I
do
like
good,
that.
maybe Neil will have you over on his channel too. He's got a fun
Yeah.
little show he does there. Ditso's an atheist, by the way. So
Yeah,
a
he's
a
yes, no, I
Mexican
know
atheist.
he mentioned that.
Yeah.
We're gonna go take our next caller here, but before we do, I'm gonna give you guys another. When I get my little notes up here, a quick reminder that Skeptic Haven is always looking for volunteers to help behind the scenes. If you'd like to be a part of our awesome team, send us an email at info@skeptichaven.com. Our next caller, we're going to get another perspective from Mexico. This is Alma.
Alma.
Hi,
Hey,
Alma. Hey.
hey, my friend. How are you?
Good to hear from
Fantastic.
Good, good. Well, we've been having a little bit of freaking out here in Mexico regarding of what is being said about Trump trying to put the cartels as terrorists.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think there is just an excuse to try to get the army in here.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
So the American president has powers that are gifted to him when he's dealing with terrorists. So if he can get Mexico, and he made Canada do it as well. So as soon as he can label cartels as terrorists, then Trump has more direct powers to activate military and things of that sort. So it is scary.
It is. And the worst part is there is a campaign of misinformation over here that even politicians, the right-wing politicians in Mexico, are saying, oh, you know what? I think it will be good that if he does that, because he's going to come here and get rid of them.
Yeah, but
And
he's not
everybody's
going to.
like, oh.
He's not going to be nice about it, and he's not going to be picky about which direction he throws his fireballs. There can be environmental damage, there'll be innocent people harmed, and then the really big question, will he leave when the mission's done? Or will he just stay and say
hell
there's
no.
still more cartels?
Yeah, I think if came to that, I think the cartel will become like that huge ghost that is going to be everywhere and nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, it's
If you
really
think you're taking down a cartel, I got another thing. Yeah, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn.
Yeah, because as soon as you label the cartels as terrorists, which, by the way, this is a tough position to sit in when you're trying to, like, it almost feels like I'm defending a cartel. But when you label cartels terrorists, then you turn it into like another ISIS or Al Qaeda situation where America just shows up in your country, and the next thing you know, they've got hundreds of installations and bases, and they're patrolling your streets, and they're just everywhere all the time and sticking their noses into your business. And Mexico's already a democracy, so that would be just weird to see them being there trying to like govern this already sovereign, peaceful country.
Yeah, and I think that is what is has been scary for a lot of us. That we see that when even the politicians that are supposed to be like Mexican politicians, but they are right wing, so they are like, oh yeah, Trump, everything, they're gonna clap about anything that he says, no matter what, just because they're against the current president, and that's it. They don't have any moral compass to go other than to go against whatever the president says.
How do you feel about your current president? Because over here, the optics, like in Canada, the optics are that she seems actually really strong and really cool.
Yep. I like the woman.
How do you feel about her? And are we misinformed over here?
Well, no, as far as I know, he has been handling the situation very well.
Oh yeah.
And
From the clips I've seen, she certainly has.
and the fact that she even turned around a plane with Trump wanted to just drop anybody in Mexico with a plane, and she was like, "No, send it back."
Yeah.
And that is something that no other president has done. Most of the Mexican presidents, even though they're like freely elected, to say that somehow, they're usually like the secretaries of the U.S. So whenever the U.S. says the president of Mexico, and at least in the past, they have been, "Oh yes, sir," whatever you say, yes. But
America's never had a president like this one. Is there presidents in the past that you believe your president should have said, "Hold on a minute, let's look at this a little closer"? Or because, like, you know, before Trump, Mexico, Canada, and America had a really strong relationship working together. That relationship has now been strained. So it's understandable that both Mexico and Canada are like, hold on a minute. No.
Well, for most part, the former presidents, they got into the, the commerce and everything, but usually every deal that they made was almost most favorable to Canada or the U.S., not to Mexico.
Okay.
Example, they have like Canadian company, I think it's near Jalisco, somewhere over there. They have been mining over there, and they have done a disaster in there, and it's a natural disaster. They have contaminated the place, and nobody says anything because they're like friends. So, and that's okay.
Somebody should say something because that shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah. Also, recently, the some of the congressmen they were really upset with the last Mexican president, AMLO, because he kind of played them a little bit. There is near where I live, there is like a big mine of marble and stones, But here, like, nature is really nice. Like, you cannot mess with it.
Yeah.
So they have like a concession to, keep digging in there, keep getting the stones out, everything. And suddenly the president says, "You know what? Hold on a moment. I'm not gonna give you the concession anymore." So he stopped that. And then when they were about to sue, because they have a contract from the former presidents, from the ones before them, because like I said, they were like the yes men. Before they could sue or do anything, the president declared that area as what is when you declare like a park or something, reserve nature area.
Yeah, a preserve.
So, yeah.
Or a
so
reservation.
They got very angry because now there's nothing they can do. Even if they sue, they cannot get the concession back.
Okay. Yeah, that's right, Henry. Trump can come and try and take over our countries. You can try, but don't forget, Wolverine is Canadian. So I think we got it covered.
So is Snorlax.
Snorlax is Canadian?
He is now. Why not?
It's not surprising.
Yeah.
I'm a fat, lazy guy.
Yeah. There's protection in numbers. So I feel for you in Mexico. And right now, Trump is looking at us he's treating us kind of equal. So whatever you're feeling from Trump, we're feeling it too, right? He's threatening 25% tariffs across the board on both sides and stuff. The only part that I find I would be offended if I was Mexican, though, is that he doesn't want Mexico to be a state. That would be like, what's wrong with Mexico? Mexico would be awesome. But anyways, right now,
I think if he could, he will reduce Mexico to a second Puerto Rico.
Oh no, yeah, no, don't do that. Yeah, that would, because Puerto Rico has been trying to be American forever. And Washington D.C. is not even a state. And They want to be a state. They can't even get Washington to become a state. But I'm really just envious of your current president. All the optics over here right now are like, bravo. Like, she seems really tough. One of the funniest things I heard Trump say was, I was speaking to the Mexican president this morning, and she's a woman, by the way. And when he just said that, I was just like, how
Like-
unnecessary was that? Like, really?
Yeah, and it's a bully, so I guess that's why.
Too many
Another problem that I
communists in
see
Mexico.
with some of the countries in Latin America was like the one in the Salvador Bukele says, "Oh yeah, just send everybody here to my prison and I'll take care of them." And the other thing was like the new Bolivian president was like, "Oh, you know what? Because we like Trump so much, we're going to put tariffs on Mexico too."
Yeah.
Mexico doesn't care because the commerce with Bolivia is not that big, but it was kind of like, a little bit of betrayal. Like, oh, come on.
Is Mexico boycotting American products the same way Canada is right now?
Some of the people, yeah, some of them saying like, no more. Mexico is like the biggest consumer of Coca-Cola, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
But other people like saying like, no more Coca-Cola. Yeah.
Is there a Mexican version or?
The Mexican version of Coca-Cola is just made with cane sugar, so that's why it's different. But that's the only.
That's
thing.
why it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the one for me was the orange juice. When the whole idea that tariffs would go into place and I found out I wasn't going to have orange juice anymore, I was like, oh man, Florida orange juice, no more, really?
I never was able to get any orange juice when I was living in the U.S. All I got was like frozen one, and it wasn't that good. I thought it was like just painted water.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
This has been kind of cool so far, Neil. Talking right through America. Like, I keep imagining this phone line connection just right through America. We're just bypassing Trump and we're talking with people. It's south of the American border from the northern side of the American border. It's really, really cool. And Alma, thank you.
Also, before you go, Alma, people are boycotting Coca-Cola right now simply because early in Trump's second term, he announced plans, of course, as we know, we've been talking about it, to impose tariffs on nearly all goods imported from Mexico. And the move was met with backlash from the Latino community, who quickly organized a boycott of several major U.S. companies, including Coca-Cola, as a form of protest.
Yeah.
There's lots of people. I've seen many, many videos of people taking their Coke bottles, unscrewing them, and dumping them out in the sink. Like, fuck you, Coke. Because they were doing some other shit too, apparently. So.
Yeah, and besides, we have other companies that make really good soda in here, like Jarritos. Oh, the best one
is which one?
Pascual Boing. If you ever get one of those are really, really nice. Yep.
Okay, you and we're going to have to talk, Alma, because I want to set up a little Canadian treats package for you, and you can set up a Mexican one for me.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Make sure you get the coffee crisp for her.
Send you a bag of Timmies.
You ever given an American a coffee crisp? You changed their life.
I know. Also, I would never send you Timmy's. I'll send you a Kicking Horse coffee because that's a Canadian brand of coffee that is really good.
Okay.
They even have a blend called Kick Ass.
Are really nice, and there's another soda that is really good called Chaparritas. There's like a little bit, a really small bottle, but those are really, really tasty.
Okay, I like it. I'll send you some Pop Shop stuff. We have Black Cherry Cola, which is fucking amazing. Anyway, I don't drink pop anymore, but I do drink that. Because the Pop Shop, which is a Canadian-owned company, makes some of the best soda stuff in the world.
I love the Lime Ricky. I'm addicted to the
Yes!
I'm addicted to the Lime Ricky, yeah.
Yeah, and
I
they're
like
cream
the
pickle orange.
my flavored Canada Dries too. Like this is the blackberry one, and then the cranberry one. I really like
Ooh.
those.
Yeah, we'll talk. We'll
Also,
talk, Alma.
the
I'll
candies.
get
I
some
don't know if
flavor
you have
ideas from
ever
you.
tried palanquetas, or the
I-
other. Well, there's Mexican candy with chile and Mexican candy without chile. So
I'm married to an Indian woman, so I'm not afraid of spicy. And
I love Indian food too.
yeah, and I had tacos for lunch today. So
Fuck yeah, perfect.
yeah.
yeah.
All right, Alma. Well,
Okay.
you haunt you
Yeah.
you always haunt me
Stay
on my
safe.
channel anyway. So
Stay positive. Call us again. And remember
Yeah.
that, like, no matter what Trump does or says about Mexico, he's probably going to say or do it to Canada. We'll just lean on each other, and we'll just
Yeah.
tear the fuck out of it.
after all, lots of people call us
For
snow
sure.
Mexicans, anyways.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, okay. Thank you, and have a good night.
You
Bye.
too. All right.
That was an
yeah, I
awesome
think-
call.
Oh yeah, well, Alma's
She's-
amazing.
She was fun. Yeah.
Well, she'll pop into one of my after parties, I'm sure. I'll make sure you're in there too. Then
Cool.
we got one more call, at least one more that we'll be taking because it's almost my bedtime. That's right, folks. I'm really old and I got to get up at 4 in the
Past
fucking
my
morning,
bedtime,
so-
but it's all good. I'm here for
Oh, is
calls.
it?
Yeah, I normally go to bed at 10.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're a couple hours ahead of us, sir. So,
Yeah.
all right,
I'm
well,
calling for. I'm talking to you from the future.
That's right. That's right. What are the winning lottery numbers? Anyway, so we've got William from Nevada, who's also an atheist and wants to talk about why Dems and the GOP keep letting Trump get away with what he's doing. Let's hit that talk button. Welcome on, William.
Actually is why do Dems let Trump and the GOP get away with everything he's doing, with what they're doing?
Right.
That's an amazing question.
And maybe
Mhm.
In fact,
Yeah.
let's. Can I call you instead and ask you that question?
I mean, well, I guess we can brainstorm it and find out.
Yeah. Sure.
All
Like,
I can do,
maybe-
all I can do here, William, is theorize. And my theory on this right now is, I kind of was touching on the point earlier in the show, like way at the beginning, is that he's got Elon over here being like the sledgehammer, right? And he's ripping through the government so quickly that it's hard to react to one thing. But at the same time, you can't ignore Trump in the corner who's doing the small moves, because as I pointed out with like the anti-Christian bias order that he put together, that could be just a stepping stone to a lot more freedoms being taken away. You
Mhm.
can't ignore those either. So at the risk of being that sweet summer child again, I think they're going to react. They're starting to. It's just all going and happening so fast. Like, William, honestly, answer this question. Where would you react first? If you were given the power to deal with one issue, which issue do you pick?
As of now, or when he first came into office,
I
which
mean,
one?
he did like 80 things the first day in office. So you could even just say, yeah, on
So
day
this-
one, what's the
starting
one
this
thing you
term.
would have dealt with?
His nominees, particularly having Elon, even that department existing to begin with, let alone having Elon, the known scammer.
Yeah. So that would be a great cause and a great thing for you to pay attention to and attack. But while you're doing that, right, Trump is signing orders saying, taking away any pronouns from all email signatures, and he's threatening tariffs to neighboring countries, and he's signing orders to do leave the WHO, and he's doing all of these other things. So you can see how, even though you would actively be doing something really good and focusing on like stop Elon and Doge, Trump is still over here
Well, the
unplugging
nominees
shit.
in general. So
Yeah.
RFK, all the nominees. Not
Yeah, and even if you dealt with every nominee, Trump is still over here rewiring shit, unplugging shit, making wild executive orders. Who's going to deal with that? So my only hope, and this is, I don't know this for sure, just trying to answer your question, would be my only hope is that it's because the GOP and the Dems are like just trying to catch up, and they're doing all of the court orders they can do and everything as quick as they can. That's my only thought to answer that question directly. I don't know. What do you think, Neil?
But again, who let them have the court?
With anything you've said.
Sorry, what was that, William?
Who let them have the court the Trump's first time with no pushback at all?
You mean his first term?
It would be the Democrats. It will be the Democrats who just the nominees that opened up during Obama's term, they didn't even bother trying to fill. And yes, that was Republican, putting obstacles, but they rolled over. Even the Supreme Court, they didn't even try to fill that position. Then
this is a different. This is a different. This is a much different presidency.
Rather than saying "Hey, you said it was too close. We're going to feel that the third Supreme Court nominee should be held during the next presidency." They just rolled over and said, "Okay, Trump, we'll let you fill it during this term. No problem." It'll be even though it'll give you all the majority, it'll be the deciding factor for anything you want to push through.
Yeah, there's definitely some sketchiness there. And in a way, it's almost kind of like it might have been better if Trump, when Trump said that the election was stolen from him during 2020, it might have been better if America just went, okay, don't cry. It's okay. You can be president. Go ahead. Because the 4-year gap really gave him time to prepare. It also gave him 4 years to campaign instead of just continue the job.
You're not the first person I've heard to say something like that, where they should have.
I'm only just stumbling on this.
Let him
right
have
now
that
myself.
second term, and
many
people thought that Trump should have had the second. Then we wouldn't be dealing with his bullshit now.
Yeah, because he kind of set up during his first presidency, had so many guardrails in place. Also, his inexperience, right? He didn't really know what it was going to be like to be president. So there was all of these things, and he had a lot of time to think about and prepare and go, the next time I do it, I'm going to do it my way. You know what I mean? But you're right. You're 100% right. The Dems are being really slow, but we're starting to see some court orders go in place to stop stuff. Some of the stuff, I don't think they're pausing long enough. They're putting hold on for a week before we execute that, where I think it needs a couple of months to explore these properly. But you're right.
Have a system down there that's similar to ours, where major things like that, we have referendums where people can vote on whether or not they want something like that, a policy change.
Yeah. I don't know. In a way, it would be kind of interesting, and I'm kind of even maybe a little hopeful that we might see. Trump's going to be impeached again at some point. There's no question. It could be interesting to see a presidential impeachment lead to removal of the office, which is very rare.
That happens, or as I was saying, unless that happens, or even if it does happen, won't that galvanize his base again? That seems
there is that possibility for sure.
He's really appealed to this victim complex that everybody has to feel sorry for the scamming trust fund billionaire.
The persecution. Yeah, and the other thing too is we don't want the Dems and I guess GOP to react to the wrong thing either. So there was one really great governor or senator. Somebody spoke up the other day. The man had a really cool cane. I remember that. And he was talking about putting forth impeachment for the comments he made about in Gaza, which would be a justified cause to impeach, but I don't think is the strongest cause. You see what I'm saying? He just said some stuff about Gaza. It was horrible stuff to say, but do we want to focus on impeaching that? No. Let's wait until he actually does something I guess he's already done really horrible things, right? So let's impeach him on those things and not the things he's
I
said.
agree with
Let's
that.
impeach him on the
Yeah.
things he's
'Cause,
done.
I mean, to your point, I think that's why a second impeachment failed, was because like they were so eager to impeach him on anything, no matter what.
Yeah, it was like a soft
His first impeachment really wasn't the strongest. Like, I mean, you could say it was morally a bit iffy, but like, and correct me if I'm wrong, his first impeachment was using campaign donations inappropriately for bribing the Stormy Daniels, if I'm not mistaken, was his first impeachment.
Yeah, I'm
asking.
Yeah, I'm not as versed on Trump's first term as I am his second time around. But I do know that he was impeached twice. He'll definitely be impeached the third time. I know it'll be the most that a president has ever been impeached. But he needs to be impeached on something really strong to be removed. Otherwise, it's a big waste of time.
Like the average American or the average person doesn't even know about campaign finance reform or any of that one way, or care about it one way or another. So that's why the first one just flat out wasn't going to fly, whereas in the second one was something with some teeth on the bones. But the war had already kind of been muddied.
Neil's got some answers for us.
Trump was impeached twice. First time was abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The second time, it was the incitement of insurrection.
Right.
The Stormy Daniels stuff there.
Yeah. The Stormy Daniels stuff was just like tax evasion stuff where he like misappropriated funds to like pay her off.
The abuse of power was specifically illegally using campaign donations to bribe his court cases. But I guess I was wrong about that. But either way, I guess that goes even more to the point of the fact that we're not even sure what the first impeachment was. Goes to show how little teeth there was on it.
Yeah, you got to have real meat on the bone for that impeachment to lead to removal.
Meat, yeah, that would be the best way to say it. Sorry.
Yeah. And as horrible as the stuff he said about Gaza was, and even though you could probably impeach and win that impeachment, it wouldn't be enough to like remove him because it's just stupid shit he said. He needs to be caught with the hand in the cookie jar doing absolutely horrendous stuff. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but he's got to be caught red-handed doing bad stuff like taking bribes or something like that. Like real like insurrection or what's the term when you like go up against your government? Treason. He's got to be we got to catch him in real treason and then boom, done. He's
you mean like January 6th?
Wouldn't matter.
Treason.
The problem is the Senate. The Senate pretty much acquitted him of both impeachments.
Yeah, but that's normal when a president gets impeached, right? They get impeached, they get acquitted. That's why I'm saying that like it needs to be something really crazy so that impeachment could lead to removal, right? Like he's already a world record holder in impeachments. One of them's got to stick long enough.
First president in U.S. history to be impeached twice.
There you go. And the first one to be impeached 3 times. He'll be impeached again. There's no way he's not going to be.
It's already dancing on the legality border.
Yeah. So if you didn't know, Neil and I are not American, right? So all we can do is stay informed, help.
Yeah, sorry about that, eh?
Yeah, sorry about that, eh? You hoser.
So both of you are Canadian, if you don't mind me asking.
We're both Canadian, yeah. But what I can tell you, William, is that right now, the average political like Dems office is fielding about 1,500 calls a minute from concerned citizens and the stuff Trump is doing. I would say that if you want to be part of it, part of the solution, go be 1,501 and call and leave a message. Because
and by the way, I'm not just Canadian, I'm Canadian full.
And I'm clearly Canadian.
Yeah.
Product focus. There it is. But yeah, like so from what I understand, there's Americans all over the country calling in, and they're fielding something like 1,500 calls a minute or a day or something really crazy high number of concerned citizens from all kinds of stuff. And you should start making a daily call to your local representative.
Yep, they
And
encourage it.
that will activate those Democrats pretty quick, because 1,500 calls a day is a lot of voters.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I'll give you that.
And by the way, a little tip for any Americans that want to get the hell out of the U.S. and come up here to Canada. One of the quickest ways and the quickest processes you'll find is if you work in the medical field.
Well, there you go.
Right, that's one of the quickest ways to get through.
I'm not surprised to hear that. I feel like most skilled labor
Yeah.
like that would be pretty.
Yep, you can always use more nurses, doctors, etc.
I'm aware of that. That's not really applicable for medical. I guess I can weld in the hospitals though.
I'm really happy that you called a couple of Canadians, to talk about this. And I hope we were.
We get to hear our perspective for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the old saying goes: the U.S. coughs and the world gets a cold, particularly the two in North America. So that's why U.S. That's probably why everybody pays attention to U.S.
I think he meant like the two others in North America. Yeah.
There's way more than 2 countries in North America.
Right, and he's referring to the 2 others, right? So America
There's
coughs,
more than 4
everyone else catches.
Let's see. I think it's 30 something countries in North America.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I don't think
you guys don't realize.
Pretty
that?
sure there's only 3 countries in North America.
Sorry, excuse me. Pardon me. I was not 33. 23 independent countries in North America.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you counting like the reservations and things like that as countries?
Nope.
Okay.
Canada, of course.
Too.
U.S., Mexico, of course, but also Cuba, Dominican Republic, El Salvador, Grenada, Guatemala.
They're not
Haiti,
South America?
Nope. Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama,
No,
St.
Honduras is
Kitts
Central
and
America.
Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago. What else we got? Belize, Barbados, Bahamas, Antigua, and Barbuda. Those are all countries in North America.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Caribbean, but I could have swore Honduras was Central.
Central is still part of North America. FYI.
Okay.
I mean, sure. Okay.
Technically, there's North America and South America. We call it Central America. It's like the Middle East is still Asia. Okay, but it's the Middle East.
Cool. I'm
right.
gonna go. I'm gonna
Fair
be
enough.
reading maps all week now because of Neil. But with that, William's point was just when America sneezes, everyone else catches a cold, and he was referring to especially Canada, Mexico.
I know.
I'll clarify.
We are the ones
But then
that
again, I guess
border
it could
the
be
U.S.
especially the Caribbean as well too, because they're definitely under U.S. influence in a major way.
I wonder what happens when America gets diarrhea.
Well, that's Mexico's problem.
Yeah, right. Get shitted on. I think you know that.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong.
Sorry, Alma.
And I've seen news stories of, Dems are slow to react. There's been a lot of excuses of like no one knows where to look first or what to tackle first. So it can be a unified front where Dems tackle like a big, strong issue, or they can split up and tackle it on many fronts. But I think they are reacting. I think they're just starting to react. And one way
I've seen lots of videos of Democratic senators and whatnot, even Republican senators and whatnot, banding together saying, we have to bring this shit to an end.
Yeah.
This has got to stop. This guy is nuts, basically.
And I know Americans are calling their local political offices and leaving messages. And that stuff finds its way uphill, right? So when one person comes into work in the morning with 500 new messages on their answering machine, they're calling their higher up to say, what do I do about this? And it'll work its way up. So
I'd have more time for that excuse if it were a new thing. But again, like I said, it seemed like the first office, they let Trump get away with everything. Before Trump, they let Bush Jr. get away with whatever he wanted, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know how far you can go back, but I would say at least Bush or at least Reagan, they let him get away with everything. Maybe even earlier than that.
Yeah.
But that's why kind of that excuse seems more like an excuse than actually a reason. But again, maybe I'm just simple.
I think you just left your first voicemail. Just record that and call someone.
Yeah. I was
Sick
thinking
of your excuses?
that while I was about to respond.
Get to work.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
William, you've been great. Thanks so much for calling. We'll hear from you again.
No problem. Thanks for taking it.
Yeah, man.
Take it easy.
It's awesome, man. Thanks, brother.
Bye.
All right.
During that call, Neil, I brought up the order for removing of pronouns from emails, and you seem surprised. Did you not hear about that one?
No, I heard about it. I just think it's ridiculous to say that because I think they call it all pronouns.
Yeah. So, any gender ideology.
If they're talking in a sentence and say, "Oh, listen, I was talking to the folks over at such and such X, whatever, such and such."
No, just in the email
they
signatures.
Said, "Oh."
Yeah, he just wants them gone from the email signatures. So no more no more Neil 604 atheist like beard and mustache. You're not allowed to put that anymore.
Like I'm gonna stop doing that? Fuck you.
Because those are your pronouns, I guess. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, my pronouns are must and stash.
Yeah,
no, no. I normally always just put the he him thing because that's just what I am. I'm a he him. Yeah, but I think that's stupid. Just what? How is that going to affect him? Like I don't. Oh, it irritates me. So what?
It's the baby steps. It's the baby steps thing that I pointed out earlier, like the "Don't Say Gay" bill in Florida, right? So he starts small with something just silly that we'll scoff at, but once precedent is set, he can inflate that to be a little bit more and say things that like it'll only be another year or so before he sends an order. Maybe he won't even get that far where he sends an order that'll say something stupid like biological men are no longer allowed to wear dresses at work.
Well, here's the thing. I think one of the stupidest fucking things that that has come out of their mouths lately is they want to make it so that what is it, a conception or whatever?
Yeah, so it's the order that Trump drew up that the way it's worded makes it technically speaking that there are no such thing as men anymore. That everyone is now a woman because
female, because everyone is female.
Because the wording is you're the gender you are at conception.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, and
so we're all female.
All embryos are female at conception.
That is correct. So guess what, kids? You're all going to be female from now on, and I'm okay with that.
You know what? What an amazing protest that would be.
I look pretty good in a dress, you know?
Yeah, what an amazing protest that would be if we all went out, got perms and our nails done, and just went out like, we're just following your order, Trump.
Perms do not work on me. I tried it once back in the 80s, and they ended up calling me Permstein from that.
That's actually kind of the point that I'm making, though, Neil. We want to make you look as objectionably as possible so that Trump is like, what the hell is that? Right? See?
But I have worn dresses before, and I think I look pretty damn good in a dress.
Yeah. We don't want to make you so pretty that Trump wants to like kiss you or anything. That's all I'm saying.
Like I'd let him? You saw my Wolverine claws, right?
He is convicted of that crime, just so you know.
Indeed, he has been. Yes. Well, thanks to all the folks that called in tonight. Also want to thank all of our amazing patrons. And let's just throw out some names right there. Get ready with that little tag thing at the bottom there. Yes, all our patrons. And I guess, do we have members yet? I don't even know if we have members yet. But anyway, oh yeah, we do, because you're one of them. So
yes, I am.
So let's thank everyone: Paul Camish, Karen Butcher, Helen Green, who's going to be on the show next week on my show. Logan Fisher, Amanda McLeod, Rion, Deneen Murphy, Dan D, Michael Wiseman, Puck, Sonny Shell, and Phil Calderone, and our fantastic members, which happen to be this guy right here, YaHouligan, Manuel Puente, Karen Butcher, Amber, She's awesome. Al Trucker and Kelly Laughlin, who you may be familiar with from the nonprofit show. Yeah. So, yeah, why am I not a member? Why am I not a patron? Because I got rid of my patron. So I canceled all the patrons. Anyway, but I'll definitely become a member. And then you can add my name to that.
Neil,
Just
the
not
604 atheist.
Neil, the big mouth atheist. I can't believe somebody still compared me to, he called me the Canadian Matt Dillahunty. I'm like, what? No. He's much better at this than I am. Don't want to be so pretty that Trump gropes you. Yeah, no, I don't. Anyway, so you guys,
I don't even want to repeat the word that comes to mind when I think of Trump and groping.
Yeah, no, I know.
Anyways,
if you're familiar with the stuff that Justin and I do, you can go check out the Skeptic Spin. I posted the links in the chat before, and you can check out my channel too, where I talk to folks about leaving their previous belief systems and how that's gone for them. And I also do update shows where we get to talk to folks we've had on there and see what they're up to now as activists. All right. Until then, guys, be kind to each other. All right. Remember, all the little people in Canada and the US, we'll stand together and we'll beat these fucking jackasses. And I highly want to recommend the Keegan channel on TikTok. He's a political psychologist. And man, just go listen to what that guy has to say.
Yep. And if you're gonna boo the national anthem of America, it's okay for now as protest, but it's not very Canadian, eh?
Yes, right. Eh? So just chill out, have a Timbits, and we'll see you guys next time.
This is Skeptic Haven. Let's talk.